Hi. And now the same, but with sound. Those of you who got the hidden message in the previous soundless aspect, please type it into your chat window now. This is Saving Throw Show. I am Sax Carr, your normal marshal for this game, but I'm not marshaling this game today. I'm playing because we actually have the man himself who made the game, Keith Baker, who's right there in the marshal seat.
Huzzah!
Yes, yay! But just a reminder that, like every Saving Throw Show, you can sort of play along with us. Please be active in the chat room. Keith may ask you for your advice when it comes to the names or qualities of NPCs or however much he wants to get from you. In addition, you can make donations either of XP, which you earn from spending time in the chat room, or actual cash donations to give us redraws or to add environmental objects, all of which can be explained to you by Sam Proof, who is the chat captain. There's lots of great shows here on Saving Throw Show, which you should watch. They're on. We have 7 shows in 5 days a week. I'll come back at the end and pitch you all of those. Thanks for joining us today. Please tweet about the show. If you get a bunch of tweets in there, Sam can give you guys some bonus XP, which is useful for a whole 3 more days. So, yeah, and now let me turn it over to the man running the game and who made the game, the amazing Keith Baker. Yay!
Good to be here. Hopefully you will all die well. This is, of course, Phoenix Dawn Command. And if you've seen the show before, you have some idea what's going on. Just because I haven't seen the show before, I'd like everyone actually to very quickly introduce themselves in character. Just to give a quick, who are you? What are you doing here?
I am Varya. I am a bitter phoenix that is a berserker. Died in her first life, got pretty much shanked by the dread, which is not a good way to go down. So died as a failure, came back much stronger, and has slightly more wolfy tendencies now.
I'm playing Eerie, who looks like a creepy little 9-year-old, like you find in a J horror film. He's a forceful, so he's very fast, and yeah. I guess he enjoys making people uncomfortable.
I have to say, this may be my favorite forceful concept. The fact that forcefuls are really incredibly fast, that's what makes forcefuls cool. And the idea of essentially the little girl from The Ring being forceful, I'm just like, ugh.
Hi, I'm Idalia. I'm devoted. I'm basically a healer. That's kind of my main thing. Not the first in the battle, but definitely you want me at your back when shit goes down. My powers are very star-based and those kind of elements. And I'm kind of blue skin, purpley haired, kind of like nebula. Nebulous, is that the term for this? Nebulous, anyway.
I mean, I think nebulous means a different thing.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe
Nebula
you
from
can like...
Avengers.
Yeah.
She's
Ethereal.
blue.
Ethereal, yeah, and that's my bad.
I am Kelvin, who is the Wings Elemental. Kelvin looks a lot like Egon Spengler, but with a military haircut, and dresses a lot like Bash the Stampede, but is a former soldier and now the team's basic sort of mage cannon. So a role he's not well prepared for, and thanks to a terrible curse, his fire is slowly going out, and he's getting colder every life.
All right, so in Phoenix, the basic danger we are facing is the dread. It is a series of supernatural threats that are manifesting all across the known world. The dead are rising, curses, plagues, diseases, all over the place, any sort of nightmare you can imagine, and the worst part is that we don't know why this is happening. In this time, the one hope we have are the Phoenixes, who have returned, and basically only you are really capable of facing the forces of the dread. The problem is, it's still a question of, can you hear about something fast enough to respond to it? Can you get there in time? And generally beyond that, can you actually understand things? Can you find out why these threats are happening? One of the tools that Dawn Command has that gives it a huge advantage over the Imperial Army in this are Aries. So, not Eerie's, though Eerie is a huge advantage for them, but Aries. So basically, from the Grand Eerie Empire, the island at the center of the Inner Sea, you can travel instantly to any Eerie that is active within the world, they can also send messages from Aries. So Aries are sort of crucial to your ability to quickly respond. The problem is only a fraction of the Aries in the world are currently active. The Aries were established hundreds of years ago when the first Phoenixes founded the Empire, and they served as the garrisons of the Phoenixes. But after the Civil War, when the Phoenixes stepped down and eventually faded out, they were largely abandoned. Even those that weren't abandoned weren't upkept with flamekeepers and such because, there were no Phoenixes. To get an Aerie functioning, it is not only a case of actually, you have to get people to staff it, and in the present day, a lot of people don't really believe in Phoenixes. They think you're crazy, they think maybe you're part of the dread. We've got creepy turning into a werewolf and weird cold guy, and not to mention Eerie, you can see why they'd be a little suspicious. So it's a matter of finding people to, first locating Aeries, some of which have been lost, finding people to staff them, and also finding in particular a flamekeeper. So magic is not something that is really a day-to-day part of life in the Empire. Magic exists in the world, but it's dangerous and very poorly understood. And when the Phoenixes established the Empire, they basically forbid the practice of magic. The one kind of magic they didn't forbid is ash sorcery, and that is sort of channeling the power of the dawn in more benevolent ways. One of the things about that is maintaining a hearth in an Aerie. And the person who does that is called a flamekeeper. They have to bind their spirit, their own life force, to the flame. So if they die, the flame goes out. If the flame is somehow extinguished, they die. Now, what does all this have to do with you? Well, one of the most important things we can do is to establish new Aeries. And as it turns out, a scout traveling around in the Grimwald in particular is a region, a vast rainforest that is supernaturally fertile. Basically it's almost impossible to put roads or buildings or things in there because they will just be overgrown within a month or two. And so the Phoenixes did establish Aeries in the Grimwald during the time of the conquest and the expansion of the Empire. But most of those are not only, no longer functional, they don't even remember where they were. They've been completely lost. As it turns out, we have a report that someone has located one of those lost Aeries. The Shrouded Marshal Winter has confirmed that they're pretty sure that this is a thing. So you have been sent to escort a team of mortals to go and reestablish this. So the critical things here is you have to get there. You have a flamekeeper who's going to be vital to actually being able to establish the flame. You also have a small crew of people, both basically once it's established, they can bring in more people from nearby Grimwald villages. But we have to make sure it's there. We have to make sure you can get it going. And so basically you go help them establish it. Then you can pretty much get out of there because basically the mortals will keep it going. But they're going to need you to keep them alive and to make it happen. Any questions about any of that?
Sounds pretty. We can't travel there by an area ourselves because they can't.
Correct.
Use
So
that
what
transport.
you have done is you are actually starting in the edge of the Grimwald, the outer Grimwald, familiar sort of space to you, although of course very south. And you're like, oh yeah, those people live out in the the wussy Grimwald, as you like to call it.
That's what I thought of it as.
But basically, you've gone to the closest Aerie, and you've met up with your team there, and now you're going to escort them into the deep Grimwald to find the Bloodroot Aerie, it's called. Or was called.
That's not
The
imposing at
Schrodinger's
all.
Eerie.
No, it's not, nothing to worry
Why
about.
wouldn't it be?
It's just because they're red. Just red roots.
Sure.
It's just normal.
Yeah.
All right, so you have a team that you're escorting, and let's meet them. First off, we have Caleb, and he's the scout who actually found it. So he is a member of actually a lost tree of the Grimwald, the Grimir, in fact. And so he's one of the last members of his tribe. And was basically fleeing the dread. He managed to stumble into this and has come and reported it.
Just say the word. Paper towels. Ah, thank you.
And in fact, yeah.
Toward your face more.
Oh, yeah, your mic is turning this way.
Oh. Do it.
So
So what I do is I'll kind of pull it
Alright.
like this. And
They actually twist on the base as well.
Oh, do it. All right, well, that should be better. Hi, everybody. Excellent. All right, so we have Talib, who found it, or Talib. And the other folks here from the Grimworld are the triplets, Jobo and Mo. And they are, so Talib is a very capable scout. Jobo and Mo aren't really much good at anything. You know, they're strong, capable people, and they are basically carrying the supplies, and they're going to do all the vital work when the area is established. Plus, they are the representatives of the village that will actually ultimately send more people if you get this established. So they're good local folks, but they aren't especially talented in anything remarkable. Talented in things remarkable, we have Roland Delonte, who is from Alona, in fact, from the city of Farmance. He's a scholar. He's a little bit, you know, got something, a bug up his ass, as it were. But he is a flamekeeper. And, you know, flamekeepers, again, he's trained in the arts of sorcery. He's still mortal, and, you know, ash sorcery is a sort of useful thing, but it's not like he's actually throwing fireballs or stuff. That's what you do. It's just, hey, he's the only guy who can actually sustain the Flamekeeper, and he is accompanied by Rusty, who is a mercenary soldier, volunteered to work with Dawn Command. They're called Guardians, and he is bodyguard for Roland. So he's going to stick very close to Roland. Finally, we have Lyra, who is Shadowvar Adept. Adept is essentially an apprentice flamekeeper. It is worth noting that if something terrible happened to Roland, theoretically, she could fill in on that role. And last but not least, Tash. Tash is a Skavi nomadic warrior, and she's a badass. And, you know, except that you're much badder asses. But as far as this lot goes. Now, for purposes of this, we are going to be using something called a buddy system, because the thing about it is that as phoenixes, you are stronger, faster, just basically, even if your big thing is not fighting, you're still stronger and faster and tougher than mortals are. Down to the fact that one wound, of which you can take 5 or 6, will generally kill a mortal. You know, you're capable of sustaining an incredible amount of injury and such. So the basic fact is, fights that are not even that tough for you are very potentially lethal for humans. And so the way this works is you're going to be taking responsibility for these folks. And essentially, you're going to each take 2 of them. You have to divide them as evenly as possible. And anytime you are hurt, if you take more than 1 wound, first wound you can take yourself. If you take 2 wounds, one of them is going to have to go to a buddy. And you don't have a Durant. Durants are good at keeping buddies alive. So basically, you know, just a little responsibility for you. Don't worry, they're not innocent, nice people who our lives are totally in your hands or anything. So here we are at the village, and we'll get a little more of what's going on as we go forward. But first, let's divide up our buddies. Now, the thing I will tell you is that Roland and Rusty have to stick together, and Rusty will die before Roland will. So that's basically, he's there as his bodyguard, so they won't be split apart, and you can't choose to have Roland die before Rusty. Everyone else you can divide up however you want to do. Some of them do provide bonuses. So if you have Roland, you get a bonus anytime you're making an arcane spread, and that sort of means essentially you have the arcane specialty. So essentially it means if you took Roland, you could actually make an arcane skill spread, even though that's not your thing, because technically you're getting help from him about it. Whereas if you took him, you just get a bonus to the spread.
Gotcha.
But basically, essentially, they are each bonus specialties, as it were. Likewise, Talib is a scouting specialty, and then Rusty and Tash provide bonuses to attack or defense for the person who's with them, since they are actually capable of fighting. So decide amongst yourselves. How are you going to...
Well, I don't mean to be cliquish, but I'd be happy to take the Alonans.
just because you people would offend them with your brutish manners, frankly.
You also have the best chance of keeping them safe as you're our strongest defender.
So I'll take them.
I'm a little torn because I know one
Should I
of
take
these characters, but he's better at scouting, and you have a scouting bonus already, so he'd probably be more helpful to you.
I'm going to pause also for just a moment just to say, for the chat room, I'd love it if you guys wanted to tell me some kind of interesting fact, whether it's a physical detail or something that is about their behavior or personality about Bo, Mo, and Joe, either individually or as a unit.
Well, I think
so.
at this
What do we
point,
need to know about these three guys?
we're each going to have one Bo, Mo, or Joe amongst the three of us that are going to be taking on the non-Alonins.
Yeah.
So, so it doesn't really matter which Mo, Bo, or Joe we're going to...
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
what an attitude.
Yeah, Bo's kind of a dick.
I'll take Bo.
I'll take Joe.
All right, have fun with Mo.
Like I said, I'm torn because he actually has history with my character.
Is it a good history or a bad history?
Good, but weird.
Ooh,
That sounds great. Yeah, let's lean directly into that.
Okay, let's just, okay.
All right. And so you still got Lyra and
Is it going to be?
It's not like we don't like you
Oh
guys.
no,
just-
yeah.
It's like
I,
you're getting picked
that
up.
sheet
know.
says ink to me, so I'm like, well, why not just take the lower person? But it's at Kelvin, so.
I mean, we're both scabby, and we both can put a serious attack out. But I feel like Tosh might do you better than she would me. Lyra.
I will actually take a step and say mechanically, actually, yes, Tosh will be much better for Eerie because Forcefuls are good at lots of small attacks, whereas Elementals generally do one big attack. So certainly, and honestly, she herself initially is probably going to be a little more like she'd rather, well, you're creepy, but on the other hand, she's Scotty. You're like a creepy fallen kid, okay? She can get behind that,
This is the first person we've ever met who understands you.
I'm saying she would much more sort of prefer to be accompanied someone who's charging into a fight than blasting things from distance with bolts of demon fire. So whereas Lyra is going to be entirely happy to be with you guys. Now, all right, we do have the fact, by the way, a remarkable thing. Joe, Bo, and Mo apparently have enchanted mustaches. So I perceive this, that it's sort of like they move according to their emotions. So as they're talking to you, they're sort of like, and like when one of them is really sad, they just go, droopy.
All right, company that makes those cat ears, get on that for mustaches. I would wear that on the
Bo
day.
also, by the way, is missing an eye. If you could give him an eye patch there, I would appreciate that. He's a little paranoid.
I'm assuming that the one in the center of the frame is always the one that we're talking about.
Yes, so in fact, the others of you could draw an eye patch on one of the guys in the back, but you don't need to worry about it.
There you go.
All right, good to know. But meanwhile, we're gonna definitely let the chat room handle Bo, Mo, and Joe here. But I would like each of you to tell me something about your Bo, Mo, or Joe. So we'll start with you. Just tell me something about Lyra. It could be either something physical that you notice or something about her. She is Shadowvar, so one of the traveling people. They do, of course, have necromantic traditions, talk to the dead, things like that. What's something that strikes you about Lyra?
The first thing that I think Kelvin notices is that Lyra, either as a result of birth or some wound along the way, has like an entirely whispered voice.
All right.
It's raspy at best and whispery most of the time.
She is, by the way, the youngest of all of these people. So she's about 18. All right. She's got a whispery voice. Do you get along?
I think Kelvin's bad with people,
Okay.
but I think that and really, in his own head when it comes to things, because he's busy dealing with the fact that he has failed to escape his curse by dying 3 times in a row. But I think we get on fine enough. I mean, he's very duty bound, and I think there's something an adept can understand about that. He's really about getting the job done because it needs to be done, and adepts have made that sort of dedicated choice. So
All right, you're both focused on your work. You're quiet. I have to say, also, it turns out that Mo is a bit of a poet. He's constantly, I think, with you and Tash, trying to sort of compose sort of something about the two, because you yourself are poetry in motion, and that's why he was very glad to be with you. And you know, Joe, on the other hand, kind of into guys a little, and so kind of a little disappointed. But you know, actually, that's exactly what that's exactly what it is. You think he's you sort of see he's just following Caleb around a little bit.
So I'm just gonna put little hearts here.
And finally, either Roland or Rusty. Anything you want?
Been thinking about Rusty. Who are you? What are you about, Rusty? Tell me. I think he does come off very gruff and very business. He doesn't talk much, but he can actually be one of the kindest people. He has an amazing singing voice.
And does he like to sing as you're traveling?
He only does it like when it's gotta, you know those times when everybody's down, you're around the campfire, it's been a rough day, and he's just the guy who will bust out with like this sudden song that nobody was expecting that just like soothes everybody, and then he'll clam up about it.
All right. Why'd he decide to work for Dawn Command?
I think he doesn't really listen to.
Can we show Mo here? All right, so you know we're building up our crew.
Oh, I think mine looks more like a backwards cap.
All right.
But I'll go with it.
He's a little beat
Maybe he
poet.
wants to be
All right.
like.
Anyhow, you were saying.
So I think like he's the type of person the kinds of things that most people agree are truth or facts or whatever are often the things that he doesn't agree with. He has a different way of seeing things, and a lot of times he's right. You know, what other people just accept is like, oh God, Phoenix, please, whatever. He is just like, you know what, maybe. So I think that he sees that there's something else going on. He's kind of got that perception, and so this is his chance to kind of really find out for sure for himself.
And last, because we're going to come back to you later. Let's just talk about you and Tash. So Tash, she's a Scavi warrior. She wears, a mask over her lower face, which is a sort of Scavi tradition, having to do with not wanting to the fallen to know your face. What's something you get about her?
I think Eerie feels especially cautious with other Scavi because it feels like that they're he was sort of done in by another Scavi, and so he feels like.
You also grew up in one of the Bastion cities, the city of Grey Garden, and she's from one of the clans, so she also doesn't like city Scavi because they're corrupt scum. So you kind of got that going right away, but also at the same time, she's not one of those city folk who stab you in the back. But you're still a little.
A little. There's something about people who are much bigger in the area that sort of like.
And she's pretty big.
Yeah.
Is there any sort of thing she does or habit she does that strikes you?
There's something endearing about the way she constantly scratches her armpits.
So she's a little
rough around the edges.
All right, and also show her on camera for just a moment. I'll also say if anyone else out there wants to tell us something about Tash, just go ahead and we'll find that out over time. Okay, we can take her back. All right. So you've all met up at the Eerie. This is, again, not Bloodroot area. This is, again, the closest area on the edge of the Outer Grimwald. You've been divided up to decide, just again, this is really about who are you keeping an eye on? Who are you sticking close to? You're going to stick close to these people because otherwise they will die. It's a couple days' journey to reach it. And anything any of you sort of want to do before you leave civilization, such as it is?
I might want to speak with Roland for a moment.
Okay.
Roland, I know this is a strange thing to ask, but do you mind if I place my hands on your head for a moment?
Why?
There's something I need to recall, and I just...
I suppose.
It's from a
It
past...
seems highly irregular, but if you must.
It is, thank you. It's from my past life, and I have a hazy memory of that, so I just need to, like, contact... Because your name...
If you must, very well.
Thank you so much. Roland, do you...
Yes?
Vermont? Right?
Yes. I have taught at Farmonts for years, yes.
Do you know...
I'm one of the great scholars of Farmonts. It is a tragedy that I've had to leave, but duty calls.
Oh, thank you so much for serving your duty. Mira,
Yes?
does that sound familiar? Mira.
Oh. Yes, a girl, a young student of mine. Promising, very promising. Honestly, I think she could push herself a little harder. A lot of potential, but just not as focused as she should be. Why do you ask?
Well, first, before I ask anything else, when was the last time you saw her?
Well, let's see. She was killed in that bone attack. No, that was someone else. I forget. It's been difficult times. There was this rain of blood, but she's fine. She's fine, I think. Best as I know these days. Who can say? But yes, I think, I myself only heard the call relatively recently, so I think I saw her 6 months ago, and she would be studying with Proctor Malaji right now, I believe.
This is very, very good to hear. Thank you so much.
You're
I'll let
very
go of your head now.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. It was very hard to hear, actually, but thank you very much. I appreciate that you keep track of people in the Empire, and again, thank you for doing what you do. I myself am fascinated by this possibility, the secrets that we could find out here, the ancient mysteries of the Grimwald. It's very fascinating, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, these barbaric people,
really
yes, but what can we do? Yes, did I say that out loud? All right. Anything else before we venture out?
Well, yes. Because I would probably be looking at Caleb and wondering if he's recognizes me at all or not, or if it's just should let it lie.
Well, it's hard to say. You're not sure if he hasn't recognized you or if he's not wanting to say anything about it.
I might keep quiet for a little bit, actually. Though.
All right.
Not so sure about
He may just
approaching
not
at
want to
that
talk to you in the middle of all these people.
Yeah, there's not a chance to step away beforehand, but
A little bit. I mean, but it is still a village.
Yeah.
And,
I'm gonna hold tight for
all
a
right.
little bit. Then.
One second.
All right.
Logistic thing. I'll be right back.
All right, so you venture out. It is, as I said, going to be a significantly long journey. You start in the Outer Grimwald, and the Grimwald is vast rainforest. In the Outer Grimwald, the trees are not, they're about 80 feet tall, still a fairly dense canopy, but you are actually starting on a path, one of the main trade roads that leads south. And so initially, it's a fairly easy journey. Rusty is singing a song, what's the subject of the song he's singing? Classic Alone in Marching song, I think.
That sounds good.
I think it's actually about ducks. And it's a song about ducks, and
I think a jaunty tune works right now.
jaunty tune about
Start us off
essentially this sort of murderous duck
that is killing the swans, and you notice Tash is very uncomfortable. You're not really sure why, but she is. And so, yeah, exactly, the bloody duck, the black duck of Wadley Pond. And so Jaunty song, and again, the first day actually passes fairly quickly and unremarkably. In these horrible days, it's kind of nice to just feel like, oh, we're having a walk. However, as night falls, Caleb does sort of try and take you either a little further ahead of everyone or a little behind. And he does say, Lala?
I always hated when you called me that.
What has happened to you?
I died. Everybody, the tree, we're supposed to go to be with the spirits of the wild. I don't know what happened. I went to this place and it was dark and it was horrible, and then I came back like this. I don't know. I feel like I'm being punished.
Do you know what happened to the others?
No,
what about Dale or Mara?
I didn't even know you were alive. I thought everyone died in the attack.
I think everyone did. You're the first I've seen, and look at you. But
I can't help it. I didn't pick this.
Tell us something about a memory that you remember about you and him back in the day. In better times, when you were just winsomely, raiding other trees and crushing your enemies.
Okay. Well, actually, when we were much, much younger, before all of that, Caleb already knew he was going to be a scout. That was what he always wanted to be. And so I do remember an instance where he wanted to try it out and he needed someone to tag along, and being one of the only other younglings in the tree at the time, talked me into it. And we actually went out a little further than we were expecting to, and didn't come back until nightfall. And the punishment was pretty severe when we came back, but she didn't regret anything about it. It was an adventure.
Fair enough. Was there ever anything between you other than friendship, or just friendship?
He was a big brother.
All right.
He was the brother she never had and always wanted.
And you have some misgivings about the activities of your tree. Do you feel that is something he might share or understand, or do you feel that he's proud of your customs and traditions?
I don't know. I haven't had any contact with him since, and I died in the attack that made me change my mind about things. So I honestly don't know if he's had any misgivings or not.
All right, so back to the present. Go back, thinking of that day when you were off all alone, and now it's hard because you definitely can see he's not sure what you are. And part of it is he's seen terrible things. The dread is concerning to everyone, and so you can tell that he's just not entirely sure. Like, are you still the woman he knew? And he wants to believe that, but you can still tell that he's like, if you take a step towards him, he kind of just involuntarily backs up a little. And so he's we'll see how it goes.
I'm not going to push it any further because this was somebody I respected, and it would be highly upsetting to be scary to them.
So the first night passes. You hear howls in the distance sound like wolves, but not quite. But they don't sound right. You're used to hearing sounds of wolves, and that's kind of music to your ears. Oh, the children of the night, how beautiful. But then it takes a sort of ululating tone that you're just like, that's not right. That's not what a wolf is supposed to sound like. Tosh is a little protective of you. It's kind of a little annoying, and as it gets to night, you feel like she's sort of like, is it not time for you to go to sleep? You should get rest, even though phoenixes do not in fact sleep. She's like, wants you to have some of the soup she made. Soup is good. You do not like the soup? Why do you not have soup? Little boy needs soup. No, boy, little girl, I can't remember.
A boy.
Yes, of course, I was thinking the ring. Little boy needs soup. Make you grow up big and strong.
I'm not getting any bigger.
Not with that attitude.
Just
All right. Anyhow, very well. So morning comes, you move on, and again for you, well, I'll just say one question: how do you folks pass the first night? You know, they need to sleep. You don't. It's not particularly dangerous yet. What do you do?
I'm going to be sitting on the edge listening because I feel like I've heard this howling before, and it's something that, you know, as much as we were out going after other trees and villages, was something even we were scared of.
Well, I mean, there's stories of sort of things that lurk in the trees that are never seen, that you don't know even if they change their shape or if they're just invisible. But, you know, there is always that story of basically it's the eyes of the forest, you know, that they watch, and when people don't come back, you know, it's the forest itself took them. You
The
know.
childhood nightmares and just kind of, she hasn't been back to the deep Grimwald since she died.
And let's not forget the murderous ducks.
Well, those we feared above all other creatures in the deep Grimwald.
I believe Idalia, because I think she especially likes now that, you know, because she's immune to like bugs and things that slither. She's just sort of like immersed in nature. She's just like resting back in a pile of leaves and just kind of communing a little bit and just kind of getting in touch with like just the forest and kind of seeing if she can get any sense of what's out there from them and just kind of just resting into it and just trying to find some peace before
Alright.
she encounters the next thing.
And again, largely, you do feel a general sense of peace. There's a slight unease, but you feel that the spirit of this area is actually relatively peaceful. Anything else?
Eerie's kind of, he doesn't spend a lot of time in forests and trees, and so he's kind of playing around with them, just like, see if he can dart from like tree to tree. And
Is he like jumping from tree to tree or just
Like,
running around them?
right, sort of like figuring out like how to stay hidden, you know, like from tree to tree, and then sometimes, yeah, going all the way up and kind of like, what's this like, and see if he can like, yeah, hop from tree to tree. And just
Doing bad, like Chopsaki runs on branches.
straight up wire work the whole time.
Kosh actually seems to be having probably a nightmare at some point later. You see she's sort of twitching around a little. You do anything about that, or you just ignore it?
I'm gonna kind of
Not creepy at all.
Only
or-
creepy ever.
no.
Ducks. All right. All right.
I think
When do you want-
that's good.
That's
quite a bit of
pouring.
meat.
I got another bottle.
Brought to you by mead.
I brought some pretty heavy, so.
I think I think Kelvin is gonna like being always duty bound and like sort of a real stuffed shirt. You know, he'll walk the outer ramp, the like make sure everything's fine. He'll make sure everyone's bedded down. He'll like, you know, like he'll put stuff back in packs and like everything else. But then after a while, when like there's clearly no one looking, he'll wander off a bit and like produce flame in his hand and watch.
Sorry, that spooks Bo a little bit. Turns out Bo's a little shy about flame. You think he actually lost his eye in some kind of burning accident. It's sort of scarred around it.
He'll clear past Bo, apologizing, and then once he gets out in the woods, he'll put it out again just to sort of watch. Like after a while, it just peters out and starts to chill, and he can't seem to maintain it. And he's sort of sure that this is the curse that will take him again.
As we do get up, you know, sun rises, Bo does start telling you very, you know, as we are going on, he's telling you, you need to be very careful with fire in the woods. You know, these are ancient woods. You do not want to burn the woods. Be very careful with the fire. Careful. You don't understand. Dangerous.
I don't know that that's going to be a problem.
So as you move on, you do move into the deep Grimwald. The trees are now reaching upwards of 120, 150 feet.
Wow.
Again, it's a very dense canopy. You know, you can't actually really see the sky or even, you know, the tops of the trees. And as such, even though it is technically day, very little light is filtering down. There is some naturally luminescent flora around, and again, it's not completely dark, but you do feel it's more humid. There's more things sort of scurrying in the shadows around you. And certainly for those of you from the north, again, your phoenixes you can handle. It's not like cold or heat is tremendously annoying to you, but it certainly feels a little oppressively hot to you folks.
You grew up here?
Yeah, not like I had a choice and decided this is, this is a place to grow up.
It's very moist.
Yeah.
Caleb says, healthy sweat, do you good.
And how?
Now, here, the path is very quickly lost. And it is a difficult place to navigate. Again, paths are overgrown and you can't even see the sky. So it's about sort of instinct, knowing certain landmarks. So someone is going to have to take point and show me a spread of seeing how good you are at finding your way. Certainly, I'll say, Varya, because you have Caleb with you, you are considered to have the scouting specialty, which will actually let you use strength for a scouting spread.
Okay. And it's, 5 or 6 hearts?
Five.
5, right?
5 for most people. You don't have a
Yeah.
shrouded.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought
you
so.
don't have shrouded or endurance. So yeah, 5.
Okay.
Meanwhile, you of course do have the scouting spread. So either of you
Actually, I have
could
some really
could
good
take it
cards for
on.
this. Well, since I grew up here and I've got Taylor with me, I'll go ahead and take points.
Okay, since all of that is true, and you do have background in this region, I'm actually going to go ahead and say you can use either strength or grace.
Okay.
And I'll give you the +5 for
Okay.
Caleb. So you have a base of 5. What do you got?
Do I have a sense of what I need to hit to...
It's basically the higher the better. This is a matter of, it's not like you can just fail this and you're not getting there. It's essentially, are you finding the best possible path? So the better you can do, the better.
I actually have a 5, a 4, and a 3.
Okay, so we are currently sitting at 17. Do you have any traits that apply?
I don't have any in my hand right now.
And I have to say, I don't know that most of your traits would apply. I don't think your death wish would help you
Not in general. I
on
think
your
that would help us
scouting
find
mission.
the wrong path.
All right. Anyone else have anything they want to add? So first, you could give her 2 points by just tossing any of your cards. So is there a card you would like, and you'll draw it back. So is there a card you'd
Right.
like to drop to give her 2 points?
Yeah.
Okay.
A grace card for you. Oh,
And you can just keep it. We just know. So we're up to 19. And
Is it worth it to burn a spark to get us up to 20?
certainly, if nothing else happens, basically, it is definitely the case that tears add up. But see what else? Someone else may be able to do that for you.
Kelvin has a knack for finding his way and anything else he needs, and he'll sort of point to something that sort of catches his eye, and as an aspect of his astonishing luck, they'll add 1 to that. That's a
Yep,
discard.
that's one. So, and again, for the viewers at home, that is basically the case that another character can throw away a trait to add it, provided they explain how their character is doing it. So Kelvin's luck helped them out a little. So that's brought us to 20, which is, again, higher is always better, but the difference between 19 and 20 is much more significant.
Sure.
So if you could get to 25, that would be awesome. But might be holding at 20.
Yeah,
However,
I think so.
I'll give you a bonus if you tell me what sort of dramatic or interesting happens between you and Caleb as you are scouting together. Anything? How does that go? Because once again, you are scouting ahead and trying to
Yeah.
lead the group.
I actually am surprised, and he actually loses his footing. And I reach out and snatch him and pick him up, and there's sort of a moment because he's still a little uncertain of me, and I just look at him like, I'm always going to be there. You were always there for me. I'm still me.
And at the same time, you just picked him up,
Yeah.
which is definitely not something he would expect. So it is this combination of sort of shock, but also with very touching.
It's still Lala, okay?
Okay, well, I'm actually going to put that to the audience then and just say, do you think she's sort of broken through, you know, if they made the connection, or he just still freaked out because especially she's freaky strong. So let me know, folks, and we'll find out. But I'll give you another 5 points for dramatic reunion drama. So 25, so that's pretty solid. Anyone else want to do anything with that, or are we good on 25? You know, which is, again, quite good.
Yeah, it's pretty close to the best we're going to get.
Okay, so so you're feeling pretty good about it. I mean, it is the matter, he found his way here, and you know, the tree folk do basically have markers. They've sort of scattered around, so it's sort of looking for signs and things like that. So certainly with your background, you feel like, okay, you've got a good path that you're on. However, as you are going, things are getting, even you feel it's sort of unnaturally humid and moist. And you hear sort of the sound of flowing water. And up ahead, you come to the bank of a river. And Caleb is surprised and feels like this was not here when I come up just a week ago. I do not remember anything like this, but it's a wide, you don't know how deep, because again, it wasn't here. The water is green and it's very opaque. And it's about 30 feet across. Again, not knowing that this even was going to be here, you don't really have a good sense of how far you would have to go to find some way to ford it. Any of you have any ideas how you could deal with that?
Caulk the wagon.
Do we want to find out what this water is about, or just get past it?
I want to ask Taylor, actually, how did you find this place from the beginning? I mean, why were you out this far?
I was out, you yourselves, were deeper than this.
Yeah,
So again, we haven't even got in. This particular area, there was a story. Are you asking this in front of the others, or are you just sort of asking him personally?
I'm kind of pulling him aside because we run into a barrier that he's obviously surprised by as well.
So he is speaking this to her. If any of you feel like, oh, well, I would be right behind them and hear that, like, someone sneaky who's good at being right behind you, that's up to you to decide.
I'm definitely here for the awkwardness.
Yeah, but...
Great, ruin my trust here.
But, again, I'm saying he's a scout, you're a phoenix. If you want to be sneaking behind him, you could be. So that's up to you. As you know, the trees have, and this is now a fact you would just know. So he'd be saying, well, this, but I'm saying you might not know this.
Yeah.
So it is the fact that many of the trees have essentially a place of power. It is a sort of, there's very few buildings in the Deep Grimwald because it's hard to keep a structure. But actually each tree sort of has a sacred place that they tend to say this is tied to one of the spirits of the forest. And he was actually trying to find one of these locations of the Olvari tribe. And there have been some sort of hints as to where it might be, because finding another tree's place of power is an important thing. And that's where he was when the tribe got attacked. He found this place, which, he doesn't think it's actually Olvari, but the Olvari are the ones who allied with the Phoenixes in the first place. And he thinks the reason it was a rumor is it turns out it's this Phoenix, Eerie. But when they came back and discovered the tree had been destroyed, the Grimiri were wiped out by the Dread. And so he figured at least he'd come here and at least you can get vengeance, on the things that killed your people by helping these Ashmen. And he's still not crazy about Phoenixes, frankly, because, they're all tied to the Olvari, but what can you do?
Yeah, I'm not crazy about them either. I mean, do you see the ones I'm traveling with?
I know, nerd. I mean, anyhow. So yeah, but that still leaves us with a giant green river. Or it's not giant, but a green river.
like how far up this river could I get in like 10 minutes?
You pretty far. 10 minutes. I mean, and you're you're forceful, so yeah, pretty far.
Okay.
Do you want to just do a quick scout?
Yeah. See if
It doesn't seem like, it seems pretty, it sort of curves around a little, but in fact, actually, it doesn't curve around a little. What you sort of strike is it almost feels to you like it's the track of something, as if it was like some kind of enormous slug or something like that, that was just sort of going in a path, just leaving this in its wake. It's sort of unnaturally straight.
does it look like anytime soon I come to an origin point, or?
Not really, no.
All right. Yeah, I'll go back then.
Okay.
Does it smell funny?
Yeah, definitely.
I'd like to shoot some radiation at it and see how it reacts.
Get out of the blast.
I mean, it basically, you can sort of evaporate it and such, and I mean, you could try and just, the problem with something like that is because it is filled with liquid, I mean, you can burn it up or something like that, but it will sort of flow in to fill the gap. It does react like a liquid, and it doesn't it's not like it's alive or, anything like that.
Is it acidic?
What are you testing with?
I mean, is there leaf matter we can throw into it or
Sure.
whatever?
Yes, it is acidic.
That was the smell.
Yes. Well, can we fell one of these trees across it?
You could certainly try.
That seems to make the most sense
Yep.
to try and get across.
No, definitely. It's the trees are much taller than the
30
length of the
feet. Are
river.
Bojo and
what's
Mo
your
going to
plan?
freak out if I take a tree down?
They're not going to be happy about it,
The other
but
option is to swim across.
well, honestly, you have one of
Deal
them
with it.
try, and no, I mean they know you got to go where you got to go, and there are many trees, so no, they'll be okay with it. So what's your plan? How are you gonna bring it down?
I mean, I could blast it out with fire or with cold, but I'm sure you could chop it down in that time too if you want.
Well, and we don't want to set the forest on fire, despite how
I agree.
it's
The
humid out here.
But the good advantage we have is this is an incredibly damp forest,
Yeah, it's
so it's not
humid,
really
but-
that likely
Yeah.
you would randomly start a forest fire.
We still
But-
also need to make sure that it's being felled in the right direction.
That is going to be the trick. So that's where this is going to become a spread. Is it's not simply you can certainly fell a tree. It's the degree to which you can. And so actually, in thinking of who wants to do this, there's not really a question of can you fell a tree. You can fell a tree. Any number of you could do it in different ways. It is about can you get it in the right direction? How stable is your positioning? The goal here is to use it as a bridge. Are you actually getting something reasonably solid? You're going to want to actually pick one of the smaller trees you can find, because frankly the big ones are so big that unless you get it exactly right, you're not
Yeah.
really going to be able to move it.
16 trees later.
So like I said, this is in some ways more about engineering or precision than it is about force.
Can I use my cold shaping, my frostbite combat style to freeze out the sort of chopped out section, and then we can just tap smash it, you know what I mean? So it'll, as opposed to burning it out, I can just
sure.
chill a section,
Yeah.
and then we can hit it with a big hammer for
Yep.
comedic effect.
I'm good with that.
Eerie's talon is sort of like a meat hook on a chain, kind of a Cenobite kind of thing.
Because there's nothing creepy about that at all. So you're a tiny murderous child who moves incredibly fast and has a meat hook on a chain. Great. That's our heroes, ladies and gentlemen. It's the hero we deserve. All right.
Is that is it a static length, or can it?
But talons are magical. They are inherently magical. So yes, it is certainly reasonable to say, no, it can probably get up to, and in fact, with a talon, you can make a ranged attack if you burn a spark. In fact, with Epitaph, you can make ranged attacks all the time. So no, I'd say that it can probably lash out for at least short periods of time. It may be that it's almost sort of stretching out its mass. So in other words, if it's really short, it's also really thick, but you can also lash it out, and it just gets narrower the further it goes.
I'm wondering if I can sort of, from the other side of the river, sort of use it as a guideline to try and pull the tree down.
Or like try and catch it as it starts to go.
Or like,
So
pull
pull it
and
towards
then-
you.
Yeah.
It's a long way across, but I'd certainly let you give it a try. Yeah. Kind of cool. And that does, that is the idea of get a tree towards you, which would certainly be, because that's the problem, is otherwise felling it. If it's a particularly big tree, it is going to be hard to get straight. I like it. I say go for it, and
I'll fell it and you pull it down.
yep.
So
Okay.
let's see if you can get across first before we.
Yeah, because I would like to try and
So are you trying to
Lob
sort of
that
swing
chain.
across, or are you just trying to get the chain across and pull the tree towards you? Is the idea?
yeah,
Okay.
the ladder. I mean, get
Yep,
across
yeah, I got
by
it.
yeah.
Yep. All right, let's see a spread. I would accept this. I'll accept this as a sort of somewhere between scouting and traveler. You're working with nature and the wild and things like that. So I'll give you 5 for that. And it's a little tricky to decide what I'm calling this as a spread, because it's almost more sort of engineering than it is pure strength. But certainly I'm going to say grace is relevant. So go ahead and give me grace, because you have the specialty, so you can always use grace. And remember that you can turn any one card into a grace card. So what do you got for me?
I have got 8, and then
So 13.
yeah, and then burn 2 sparks to.
Well, before you do that, other people can help you, because she can give you 2
Yeah.
if she has a card she wants to get rid of.
Oh, that takes me a little bit.
Remember, you'll draw back up.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna help him out with like my ability to kind of help manipulate gravity a little bit. I'm gonna throw.
Still
You
just
can
2.
keep it.
Yeah, it's 2.
Yeah, you can just keep it as I say. I just got to know it's going in. So we're up to 10. Anyone else?
I don't have anything that can directly apply to this.
And depending on how big the tree is, the best I would be able to do is, something when the tree's
Is
actually
this you
happening, not
getting
as a-
across the river or just?
This is him sort of trying to pull the tree down, is the way
okay.
I understand it.
Oh, all right. Well then, I was
Now,
gonna.
I'm assuming what I'd do is I'd say, since you are helping with the tree, I would let you add up to 2 intellect cards.
Okay. How about that?
Boom. Okay, 19. Someone want to make that 20?
how big is this tree? Is it something where I can reasonably be kind of on the other side, like while you're trying to break it, like trying to help guide it the right way?
Not really, because
Is it
he's
like
basically
huge?
pulling
Got
it down from the other side.
Yeah,
and he
and
can
you're-
blast it from the other side.
Yeah.
You can't really, physically.
Can I apply my superhuman reflexes to this because I'm making minute adjustments to like sort of
Yeah,
bring the
absolutely.
tree down exactly?
Absolutely.
So I'll draw a
Okay,
card from
so,
that.
That makes more sense.
all right, so that hits us to 20. It's not, hugely relevant, but it is relevant. So, okay. Good enough. Clear it out. So you do manage, again, you sort of grapple onto it, and you're pulling, and it's not going great, but then Kelvin steps in, you hear the tree cracking, you pull it down, you've got it there. It seems fairly solid, fairly good. So who's going across?
Is the acid burning like the tree as it touches
The tree
there?
isn't quite touching.
Okay.
It's again the tree's low high enough that it actually probably is. Now you mention it, is the tree sort of just touching it. Where it is touching, you feel it is eating away. Now that does mean it may sort of, as it soaks in, eat up. It's not like, oh my God, we've only got seconds to do this. But yes, it is not necessarily extremely stable.
Can we make sure it's not going to roll? I'm more worried about getting across to all the other people.
Well,
and
you
having it
feel.
cut.
So here's
Is
the
it
issue.
solid or-
You've done it sort of as best as you can. It is a little wobbly. There's not really that much more you can do. Certainly one of you, whoever's going across first, you could, for example, hold it.
Yeah, that's what I was
stabilize
wondering.
it.
That's basically what I was
Yeah.
angling
So I'm
for.
saying you can definitely, definitely it's going to be safer for the first people who go across. And so that's my question.
Well,
who's going
but
first?
Idalia's team definitely shouldn't go first. Idalia's team, because you're of the most precious cargo.
And who knows what's on the other side?
So you're already over there. Do you want to call over Tosh and Mo, and I'll travel over with Bo and Lyra?
Would it be helpful to tie off some rope?
He's still on this side. He
Oh,
pulled
okay.
it. He pulled it down with his chain. Is what was going on there.
So why don't you go across first, and then if it's good for you, then we'll send Idalia across, and
I
I'll
think
stay.
that somebody needs to get over there and hold the tree to make sure it's not going to rock as too much, though.
Well,
That's what we're talking
What
about.
I'm saying is like tie a rope off on this side, bring it over as a guide rope, so people can like sort of do this while they're walking across the tree.
Like it.
What does I say? And that'll help the next group. So basically, it is the question of, in some ways, first people are going to, on the one hand, have an easier time because it's more stable. But as you said, yeah, it won't be stationary on the other side. It'll be stabilizing it there, and we can potentially set up this rope. So are you going to try and go first?
Yeah.
Tosh definitely is like, little boy should not go first. Who knows what is on the other side? Why do you not go first, wolf woman?
I would, but if somebody else wants to go.
All right, I will keep you safe.
I will.
All right, you get across. I mean, it is, first off, you have fantastic reflexes. Mo, it's a little, you're like, you've got to sort of help him a little. In fact, he may start to slide, and you manage, if you choose, to catch him, unless you want to see what happens when he falls and dies horribly. But you catch him and get across. You can set up the guide ropes. So who's going next? And now, you and Tosh can certainly stabilize, hold the log on the other side. It is definitely both sort of a little wobbly in the middle, and you can hear the acid eating, so, time is of the essence.
You need to go next, because if anybody gets hurt, you're going to be one of the only ones that can help us out here.
All right, and plus, and maybe this is too easy, but maybe I impose a little of that gravitational effect to kind of just help balance us out as we get across, just at least me and my team. And so we skirt
Again,
across.
They did a good job getting this together. It's a little, as you're in the middle of it, and the smell is terrible. The fumes are rising up from this. It is a little dizzying, but you get across just fine.
All right. Kelvin, it's you or me.
Go ahead. Your talib is more important to us than Lyra. Apologies. And I'll sort of.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Duty first. Go.
Well, he knows where we're going, so
All right.
I'm going to let them go ahead of me so that I can watch
right.
them in case.
So as you were going across, you're about in the middle when you hear the wood starting to crack. It is being eaten through by the acid. And it gets across. It's fine, but you really it's a near. You're pretty nervous about it.
Yeah.
But you do make it across. So
Great.
now, of course, no one's holding, and definitely you are stabilizing it. You and Bo are sort of holding it tight to keep it from rocking. So all right.
Do we want? I'm going to holler back. It was not good.
I got that impression.
I'm trying to take down another tree.
That seems like a lot of work. Do I think it'll be safe if we send over like one or the other of the humans at a time? Like, are they lighter comparatively to the three of us?
The risk about it is that they are certainly Lyra is much lighter. On the other hand, then she doesn't have you to catch her if she falls type of thing. But yeah, I mean, Lyra would be the one who, as I said, is definitely the lightest of the bunch of you. So you could try and send her across if you want to send her across first.
I should have just carried people with.
I mean, I guess we'll go. It seems like the only option is to just go across and then deal with what happens in the as we go.
We're not really under a particular time restraint either, though. If we need to stop and come up with another plan that has a little less risk.
I'm willing to hear any options if you've got them.
Well, you also do think that this bridge in particular is getting worse as you wait. So the longer you take.
All right. Lyra first, then Bo, then me. And I'll try and keep them within arm's reach the whole time.
All right.
And we'll sort of travel across as best we can.
So you get.
I'm going to wait on the other edge, like as close as possible, so if they get really close and someone can snag them.
All right.
I want to be like in
Got a little
waiting.
human chain going, phoenix chain going.
All right. they get to the metal and it snaps. So go ahead and give me a grace spread.
Oh my god.
Asking for it.
I'm actually gonna have to draw, or to grab a draw as it is.
Yeah.
That's something.
You hear a terrible cracking again. The fumes are making you weak. Bo is already concerned. His depth perception is not very good. Because you may remember he only has one eye. And as I said, you suddenly hear the cracking and splintering. It starts to collapse. And what do you got? If only you had some astonishing luck. Oh, too bad.
Damn it.
I would just be in the way if I got on there to try and snap.
Yeah, at this point, and this is, again, within seconds, you may be able to essentially, his spread is in part him, and in part it is reflecting Bo and Lyra as well.
Yeah.
So, should Lyra survive, in a sense, it is very likely she is scrabbling forward just far enough that you're able to grab her and pull her out. So, we're using his spread to reflect the entire thing,
All right,
but
so
really it is everyone helping. You can help him.
I'm going to
yes.
add 2 to his.
Okay,
Thanks.
so that's 2.
What do you got, Chant?
Here's a question. With
Yes.
the shrouded bond, could I appear next to him and try and grab Lyra and jet back to the other side? Or
To be hidden first, though, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, you generally have to be hidden for that to work. And I didn't hear you were hiding over there. I thought you were stabilizing trees. It's a very interesting idea, though. I would consider it, but let's see how he does.
Okay. Instead of trying to gracefully dodge out of there, can I just basically turn full bore fire on the acid they're going to fall into and try and burn it away?
Try to burn it away. All right.
So they can run across.
Okay, I find that interesting.
All right. So I'll drop into fire shaping.
All right.
And I will incinerate.
Okay.
So that will draw me a card.
So is your theory, just so I understand this, that you are switching this from a skill spread into an attack spread?
Essentially.
Okay.
Let's
see what you get.
I'm gonna try and buy them some time and I'll stay on the log and fall in myself, but I'm trying to bulwark against the tide on both sides.
All right.
So there's that. So I'll be incinerating that, and then I'll throw in 4 from intellect, and that drew me a card, did it not? It did. And there's 3, and then I'll burn a spark. I'll burn 2 sparks to add 6 to it from incinerate. I'll burn another spark to add a card to it from fire shaping.
Yep.
So that's 2. So that's 5, 10. That's 16.
Plus 2 from Idalia, so 18. And of course,
18.
this is a different sort of thing. So 18 is a pretty impressive spread.
You know what? I'll flop Valoria. So I'll bring it up to 20.
All right.
And again, this isn't in full-on self-sacrifice mode. I'll fall backwards into the goo if it means keeping them basically forming a fire ring around them so they can get off.
All right. Lyra makes it across. And
Oh no!
here's the deal.
Oh, don't burn Bo.
It's gonna be.
Oh no!
It's gonna be either 3 wounds to you or 2 wounds and Bo goes. And I'm gonna ask the audience. Does Bo get caught in the fiery blast and incinerated, or does he get across and it'll be 3 wounds for Kelvin? So we're gonna have a momentary intermission as we discover whether Bo lives or dies. With that said, at the very least, you will get across. And you're at least going to take 2 wounds, so you can go ahead and take those now.
Taking 2 wounds because of my radiant blood, it regains me 2 sparks for each wound.
Nice.
And also gets a spark for everybody
But
because of my
I think
elemental
people have
bond.
used sparks, because I think you've been pretty
Oh, all right.
lax
Well,
on
if you've
sparks
used
so
a
far.
spark, then you get it back. Otherwise,
All right. Use them if you got them.
oh no! Chat room. Why?
What's our general
What?
verdict?
Well,
They got him close to our hearts.
Bye-bye,
and then they just take him
Bo. Oh,
away.
half burned by fire and half by Allison. Oh, Bo kicks the bucket. All right. Bye-bye, Bo.
All right.
So, yes, that is the tragedy of it is Bo just, again, he doesn't have very good perception. He slips on the log, and he gets caught in the acid and is screaming and staggers back into your column of fire. And on the other side of the shore, Mo and Joe are screaming, no! no. In fact, I think you're going to have to grab Joe to like keep him from charging in. But you do manage, again,
Thank you.
Lyra, her leg drops down and would have been melted away if you hadn't burned the fire away, and you're able to catch her and pull her up. And you, of course, do take 2 wounds before you're able to pull out of it yourself and get onto the other side.
I think Idalia has a
Poor
moment here
Bo.
just because I've got that necklace that could save a person, and I think I take it aside to myself and I pull it out. I'm like, I look at his brothers. Should I? Oh
Same
God.
with our Flamekeeper.
He was, yeah.
He is just a one-eyed village laborer, but on the other hand,
You know-
his brothers love him.
Looking at that sad mustache.
Yes, and you can see, of course, as he is dying, the mustache is going straight up and twitching, but then one side, the mustache is burning, and the other is being melted away. No, Bo's mustache.
I think Idalia takes the lessons of her last crucible, which was a bit more detachment,
All right.
and she puts it away and just faces everyone again.
How
Rest in
ironic.
peace, Bo.
And maybe come and try to comfort them a bit.
Oh,
How ironic that he was afraid of fire.
Yeah.
Joe basically uses this sad moment to hold on to Caleb a little, while meanwhile
And I just sit there
Mo,
and I kind of giggle at
Yeah.
like,
and meanwhile Mo is already, sort of starting to compose a tragic verse. That for the next day, he is just going to be, espousing the virtues of Bo in poetry. Poor Bo. All right. We must move on, though. There's nothing for it. You do still have his eye patch,
Oh,
and perhaps a little piece of his mustache that still twitches. Sadly.
both go in my cloak.
And as you move on, the forest gets, if anything, more humid, and this is definitely feels unnatural to you. And you hear sort of rustling in the canopy that reminds you more of those stories of your youth, of the eyes of the forest. But nobody dies the rest of the day. You just have this sense of things are stickier.
does Caleb also look uneasy?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, like same reaction.
He still also feels like it was not this bad when I left. Night does fall, and in the Grimwald, it's really dark. There is no stars, no moon. There are, bits of phosphorescent, sort of moss and ooze around. So it's, little stars in the canopy. Now, once again, this time, you are also not sleeping. But this time you feel a little uneasier about things. There are strange howls and such, but this time they are wolves. You have a general sense that there's something going back to you. Previously you felt, at ease with the forest spirit. Here, something doesn't feel right. I'll also point out that Roland has been looking through books and things like that. There's something he's very interested in. And so do you have anything you're going to try and do this evening?
I think I might just try to send out a light that helps us just see a little bit further than we can
Okay.
now, just like a blast to kind of get a sense of any shapes or anything that's deeper in the forest.
And so you will be a sort of beacon
Yeah.
for the group. Are you willing to spend 2 sparks on that?
I am.
Okay, give me 2 sparks. And technically, you're technically spending 4 sparks because you're going to get 2 back in the morning. But I'm saying the net result of this is you're down 2 sparks.
Okay.
All right, that definitely is it calms the mortals, at least, and makes you feel a little more confident that you're going to see things coming. So that is a good thing. Who is going to take responsibility? And let's see, you pulled down the tree, but you sort of did that together. You've done that, which is good. Why don't you and Caleb take responsibility? Well, Caleb actually does need to sleep. So it's really going to be about you. Why don't you take responsibility for trying to see us safely through the night?
Yeah.
You again feel the eyes of the forest watching you. You just remember the stories in your youth of the unseen killers. And got any plans for how you would try and spot something like that? Certainly the light helps.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like things would be a little bit more sharp, you know, kind of senses being more peaked, so I'd be really, not even so much just watching, but trying to focus through the other senses, because everything has been a little more heightened since I've come back from the Crucible a second time. And really, like, listening and also just, like, trying to catch, like, be upwind of whatever it is and see if I can catch anything that's coming that way instead of focusing so much on what I can see.
You feel something is coming. You feel that there is something out there that is sort of watching you and lingering just beyond the light. Do you have any ideas of how you could keep something like that away? At the same time, you have a general sense that whatever it is uncertain. You know, that it's watching you, but it doesn't know. You know, you think of a predator, and you think it is that point where it's trying to decide, is it safe to attack you? What are you?
I probably try and sound meaner than it is, the way that, you know, wolves howl in the forest and they establish territory. Yeah.
All right, well, this sounds to me like a fear spread.
Okay.
So fear is, you know, social things in general, sort of personality things, or grace. Because you have the specialty, you can use strength as well. So give me 3 cards.
3 cards. So I can use grace and strength.
Yes, you can use grace and strength. And again, if you want to give me a little more description, you were howling.
Yeah, I'd probably start howling and, like, growling back into the woods, trying to sound bigger and nastier and trying to, like, shake it up so it sounds like more than just one creature that's howling, like try and vary the sounds so it sounds like there's more of them. Do I get a sense that the what's coming towards us is connected somehow to the dread?
Oh, definitely.
Because I have the Vengeful Grace card.
Okay.
And I feel like it's like, this is the thing that took out my people before, and I'm not letting it take this group out now.
That seems reasonable.
So.
Okay, so I will in fact I'll give you 3 for that.
Okay.
So you're at a base of 8 so far. And so far that's, Vengeful is a free card because it's a trait.
8, and then that gives me 12. And I can get up to 15.
Now you can still play one more card, and any card you've got. Because again, Vengeful was a trait, so it didn't count towards your 3.
This could be interesting. It really is just like, I'm gonna go ahead and, like, tap in as deep as I can, even though I'm still leery of what I've become, and I actually have the Crude But Effective card, and really just start shaking things up, making noises as bad, as loud as I can, and just, like, doesn't matter if I wake up everybody here or freak them out, just whatever it is to...
I'll give you another 3 for that. So for that, we're again talking 6, 11, 18. Can you make that 20?
Yeah.
I'll look over, like, you know, we're like getting packs ready for tomorrow, and look over at Eerie and be like, tonight she's scarier than you.
Yeah, that's true. All right, 20 is what we're sitting on?
20's good.
Although, could get back a couple sparks in the morning, I could get up another, like,
22.
Notch. Yeah. Is that...
I think for purposes of this, it's the whole sort of, technically you could all throw in 2 sparks just because you'll get them back in the morning.
Sure.
I think we'll just leave just as... So yeah, 20 is fine.
All right.
And what does happen, so basically you do feel it sort of keeps pressing in, and you keep, you know, when you feel it close, you howl and it sort of backs away. But as it's getting close to dawn, you assume, from your guess of time, there is just a sudden blur of movement all around you. And it's one of these things where you can't actually see anything directly. You only sort of see sort of light shifting.
Eerie, knock it off.
It is not actually carrion birds. So as I said, this isn't actually what it is, but it is a whole sort of flock of small creatures, essentially it is. And they basically, their skin changes to match the surroundings. So it's hard to even really see what they are, just that they're darting in. You scared most of them off, but the problem is they are darting in and they've gotten the sense of, okay, they're afraid of you people. They know you're scary. So they're targeting the mortals. So by the time they show up, the main issue is before you even really have a chance to react, they're going to kill 2 of them.
Oh.
And I'll say they could have killed 6 of them potentially if you had been so on the ball. So only 2.
Wounds there.
So immediate thing, who dies?
Can I counter one of them dying by playing Death Wish?
Yes, you may. So you take a wound.
Okay. And get scarier, yay!
And who is it? So I would say it's Taylor. Is that basically you see 2 of these things, you can barely even see them, sort of launching themselves at him, and you manage to throw yourself in front. They are sort of burrowing into your chest. So that happens, but so someone else, and I'm going to say it's someone not attached to her, because she did just save her people. Someone else has to die. Who's it going to be?
It's got to be from you or I, Eerie. We can't let all 3 brothers go. We need their connections to the. We need their connections to their town.
Knock off the trip.
That's true.
Yeah.
If I throw Lyra out at this, that means that we're going to have to redistribute, right?
We are going to have to redistribute, yes.
What do you think?
I mean,
We can't really afford to lose either of them.
We need Rusty as a buffer against Roland.
Yeah.
so is it Tash?
Technically speaking, just as a point to that, if Rusty were to die, you could redistribute and give her one of, she could take Mo, and now Mo can be a buffer. Rusty is he has to be a buffer. You can't choose to let something bad happen to Roland instead of him. But I'm saying, it's not that he is irreplaceable. On the other hand, he's a +2 to defense, so that's, whereas Mo's just, Mo.
I mean, the only other option is Tash. It's Mo or Tash. I mean, that's kind of, I think, where we're at right now. Because we really could use Lyra as backup if something does happen.
To Roland. Your call. It was going to be one of yours, Eerie. You pick who.
No pressure.
Can I burn 2 sparks and use Survivor to...
Oh.
Nope. It's a good idea, but the issue is they aren't attacking you, and that's the fact so no, one of them is going. If you just can't decide, we can put it to the audience, but,
They're not going to go for Mo, I'll tell you that. They will not let another brother die on our watch.
So you say.
I mean, Mo makes no sense because you don't get a bonus from him, but that just means we have to make sure that
People aren't about bonuses.
They are right now.
Just typical bitter.
You tell me which it's going to be, and I'll tell you what happens to them.
You're dark.
All right, so that's the thing.
You're
It's
just-
actually, the shapes are darting towards you, and she throws herself in front
Oh,
of you. And
God.
they're like, no, stay away from Paul! Even though, of course, it would not have killed you, and you could have done all of that. But she died trying to protect you. Rest in peace, Tosh.
Because you make this.
Okay, but now we have these horrible creatures.
You have your soup. You just had the soup.
If you just had the soup, you would have been faster.
Remember to wear your socks.
So sad. Her blood splatters across
Oh my
you.
God. Paint a pretty picture.
And I'll let you go first.
All right.
We don't actually have anything that's dark. I am not actually giving you a list of traits because this is just environmental elements, but I will actually let you each, if you can tell me something cool about the environment, I will let you draw an extra card. that you are using in a meaningful way. So it's a lot of these little, like I said, you haven't even really gotten a good look at what they actually are because they are so sort of blending in with the surroundings, but they're definitely small and have very sharp something. Because, they sort of burrowed sort of into, your shoulders essentially, and all you know is one sort of almost went through her and just blood all over you. What are you doing?
Can I use, say, hook a log from the fire and kind of spin it around and try and use the fire to...
Draw a card. I'll give you a card for that. And I'll go ahead and it's not a big deal with these guys, but still, I'll let your first attack be brutal for that.
Okay.
So give me some attacks. And you would have gotten that +2 attack. If only she was still alive. How sad.
The dancing mustache right now that says that was the good choice. This is the problem with the chat room is they make NPCs far too charming, and then you have to sacrifice.
I see the image I see of the scene of it is Mo, the little furry thing is going towards him, and his mustache straightens out, and you leap in front, and then Tash leaps in front of you.
Let's see.
Brought to you by mead. A little more.
You got it. Kill this bottle.
What brand of meat is it? We can say.
I will tell you in a second.
You'll get
And I have
an
another
endorsement.
bottle of it, in holding.
And I'll totally mix it with
Chaucer's
Mountain Dew. 'Cause
mead.
no, I won't. Chaucer's mead.
Thanks, Jeffrey.
All right, what do you got for me?
I got a spread of...
Tired of that bottle.
Yeah, a spread of 7.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to do a thing, and then I forgot what the thing was.
You're making a melee attack with Epitaph, so you can flip it.
Okay, good.
Boom.
So
Okay.
yeah. 10.
All right, so 10 is actually really good because it's because your damage is brutal. You round up. So there, part of it is there's not necessarily actually that many of them. You did scare most of them off, but they're just so hard to see. It's hard to even almost know. So you swing the log around. Tiny little bodies burst into flame. They screech. Do you want to make another attack?
Ugh. It's kind of terrible. No.
Okay. Draw back up. And now why don't you give me defense? Because they just they sort of swarm in on you with an attack of 12.
At least you'll counterattack them.
Yes, you will.
Yeah, except all my shit's gone.
And that is, of course, the advantage of the flowing force is generally you do have, you might as well make it a defense because you get to hit them back.
Nice.
So.
Let me do this to draw a card.
Okay. Oh, forceful.
Is it that strong an attack? I mean, would it be worthwhile to burn the sparks to take the wound?
Possibly. It's actually pretty, they certainly mowed right through, they did, how many wounds did I give you wounds? Just one, huh? Well, it was just saving Taleb. It was just basically one of them. This is a bunch of them. Mm-hmm. So you don't think this could, kill you right away, but you think it could do 2 to 3 wounds.
Okay. And Survivor. Does that count as the Uncanny Agility turning the Strength into Grace?
No. So because that's a trait, and because it is relevant in this situation, you are trying to survive. Survivor is almost always going to be relevant to defense.
Okay.
It's pretty much just a free card onto the defense.
Then Strength.
Okay, so you are currently sitting on 7, and I said the attack was 12, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And remind me on the effect of Survivor. burn a spark.
I can burn 2 sparks to
take away a wound? Okay, well, for 5, you are going to be hit for 2 wounds. So, and if you want to burn the spark and burn 2 sparks and bring that down to 1 wound, you can.
Yeah, we'll do that.
All right. All right.
And then, let's see. And then I can counterattack with.
Oh, you already did, actually, right. So you counterattacked with a value of 7, which means one of them goes down. Splat. And unfortunately, that isn't brutal. So there's still 1 left. So who are you passing the torch to?
You got it.
Yes. So I'm gonna see, with his thing.
I just also want to actually note an important fact, because I almost missed it. The fact of the matter is every 2 wounds you take, one of them would have to go to Mo. So once again, this is the case that your survivor trait saved Mo. Because it was trying to burrow through you to get to him, but you're too tough. So.
Following suit with him and the fact that they're moving so quickly and hard to see, I am going to try and see if there's some, another log, not necessarily one on fire, just something that's bigger than my talon to actually swing around at them.
Uh-huh. I'll give you a card for that.
Okay. And do I draw up after using my other card or Death Wish?
Tell Matt that we're close enough to the end here that I'm going to save that, but we will use that. There's a place where that'll happen. That'll happen coming up.
Do I draw up from after using Death Wish or no?
No, because it was not. Cool. Yep.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and use Ruthless.
All right.
Which I think makes a lot of sense right now. So that gives me a 5. I get my wound. There as an additional, so that gives me 5, 6.
Now you only need 6.
Oh.
I mean, there's only 1 little guy left, so frankly, boom.
Yeah, that gives me enough right there then.
Yeah, splat. Okay. And actually, again, you scared most of these guys off. If you hadn't been so impressively intimidating, this could have been much worse. But you did do a good job. Just a few got through. So actually, you just describe it again. What you actually you grabbed a log
and
you just
grabbed a log and I just swung it like a
splat. It's hard actually to figure out what these things are because you set them mostly on fire and squash them, and even in death they sort of blend into the forest almost perfectly. You sort of feel like they're almost melting away or something like that. Like you're not even sure if it was a chameleon effect, if they were just changing shape or something like that to match their surroundings. But as I said, you actually can't even really find much left of them. All you have is the dead body of Tash and some holes in a few of you from what's left. So you almost feel like looking at the wounds, they're actually fairly dramatically different. Like yours is almost like a drill sort of wound, whereas with you it actually was like claws digging through. What do you do with Tash?
The forest is going to swallow her in pretty short order.
Yes, it will.
Let's bury her.
So we find a place that looks fitting.
What is Skavi tradition for burials?
For her people, I mean, frankly, it varies from place to place. As a city dweller, leave someone in an alley in graveyard.
Does Lyra know? As a lore adept, does Lyra know what the traditions of her people were?
Yeah, she would actually certainly say her people would generally prefer to be burned.
I can do that.
All right. Now, it would be considered a point of honor for someone to hold her mask. So would one of you keep her mask?
Yeah, I will.
All right. So you have Tash's mask. In fact, we'll just give you her as a sort of memento.
You're just carrying around the body.
I didn't want to break up the set.
As you hold the mask, you hear in your mind, "Eat the soup." Are you going to wear her mask or just hold it?
Yeah, I think I'm going to wear it.
All right, and feel free to describe it. You know, that's sort of we've sort of got the general sense of the picture. It is a warrior's mask, but you can tweak that a little if you want. What do you see? It's a lower face mask, which is again for in the cities it's more just an aristocratic thing. For the clan folk, it's a more general sort of tradition. But yeah, so it's a lower face mask.
There's just sort of like some fangs are on it. I think there are portions of it though. Eerie, a lot of his clothing seems kind of like dark, but at points it sort of fades into like a sort of a smoky effect, like as almost as if it's kind of misty. I think there are portions of the mask that start to fade to black, like depending on when you look at it. It's kind of the shadows sort of move across it and it just seems darker in places than it was before.
All right. Cool. Anything else?
I would go over to Taylor. Have you seen this before when you were out here? Was there anything
No,
like this?
he's actually kind of shaking, because to
sounds
him
like
this
the
reminds
stories.
it does remind him of the stories, and he says, I fear it is something old waking. Those stories, the stories must have been true once. What if this dread? What if it is bringing back old things?
I don't remember anything in the stories about how to kill it or to destroy it.
I do not
Just
know.
that it was there, and I thought it was something they told us to keep us from wandering too far.
And maybe they did. But we will know if we live to see another day. All right, but we are close. Let us finish this. Perhaps if they can light this flame, perhaps that will drive back this darkness. Any of the rest of you have anything you want to do either yourself or with your companions as you are moving the final leg?
Do any of these do these monsters fade entirely out of existence after a while, or do they leave any
Pretty
sort of
much. That's what I'm
corpses?
saying is it's between, it is not exactly marshy, but the ground is almost oozy around here, and it's sort of, they're small. So some of them just sort of hit the ground and you can't even really find the body. And what you do feel is they are sort of almost dissolving. So it's sort of by the time you're able to sort of, I'm pretty sure one hit there, but I'm not really finding anything. But what is it you wanted to do?
I'm going to prompt Lyra to take notes about them or otherwise study them to later pass on to Ink, who I know will be curious about these.
Absolutely.
And
Anything like this?
I think at this point I'd probably go ahead and fill in the rest of the wing and just. It was stories. They were only stories. We always talked about things like this, but we never saw anything like this.
So that triggers something to you. So I would like you to make a tradition spread.
And I was also thinking of asking Roland, since he was looking into his book, if he happened to come across something.
I will let
that seemed
him give you
familiar.
5 for your spread, because it's
Okay.
sort of the both of you. You're trying to remember. He has been doing some studying, so yes, he'll you put your heads together, and so you have a base of 10 on this.
Okay. So is that a 3-card spread?
3-card spread. It's normally intellect because it fits with your specialty of tradition. You can use intellect or grace.
Okay. Let's see. In that case, I'm going to add my intuitive card because we're starting to sense
Absolutely.
something that we were
So
calling.
intuitive, if I recall correctly, lets you
And-
draw 2 and
The other extra.
wow, grace 5.
Okay.
Nice. Oh, it's a value of 5 when using a skill
Right,
spread.
okay.
So that's okay.
And
And
it still
also,
gets-
hold up.
Oh.
What's Thought Coil turn to?
1 spark, I get 5 more.
All right. So
So-
this is so far.
Okay.
Just looking at the base, we had 10 already. We've just picked up another 10 from the 2 of those. We're at 29. So you only need 1 more point to hit 30.
And let me see, I'm going to hang on to my trait.
Burn a spark, I'll get you back.
Yeah, all right, let's do it that way.
All right, boom. So, yeah, it turns out that Roland has been sort of studying. This is one of the reasons he was very excited to do this, is he has been studying the Deep Grimwald. And it sort of ties to the idea, he has heard this story, which now you again, with your knowledge of traditions. You sort of say, it is the case that the Grimwald trees, sort of believe that each region has a spirit, and each spirit has sort of a place of power, and that these are sort of holy locations for different trees often. And so first of all, this does feel to you like this is a manifestation of, there is reason to believe that these forest spirits are sort of real things. They aren't necessarily anthropomorphic entities, but they are things that influence a region. And it's one of the reasons the area is so unnaturally fertile and such, is it is sort of magically enhanced. And so this does sort of make sense to you, that it's sort of as if the spirit of this region either is corrupted or maybe has always been corrupted, but again has been weak because magic has not really been a strong part of the world. It is also the case that Roland feels that he had definitely heard something about a very powerful weapon hidden in the Grimwald, something ancient and powerful, and sort of part of his hope was, well, maybe, what he heard specifically is references that Bloodroot Eerie held a very powerful weapon, and that was one reason they were maintaining this area out in sort of the deep Grimwald, because it contained something very powerful. He doesn't really have any details about what that was, other than that it's something old, that it was something there beforehand. Any clarification on that?
What is your clan heard, or what is your tree heard? And
So
how is that relevant to this?
Yeah, so going back to what we were saying before, it's more that it sort of ties, when you put all of that together, to the idea that yes, it was probably, when you hear, the eyes of the forest that consumes the unwise, that would fit with, it's just the spirit of the region is malevolent, if you will.
Yeah.
The whole point is, what you had is nobody ever saw, it was just one of those things of, if a guy didn't come back, the eyes of the forest must have gotten him. Other people could say, well, he just ran away, or he fell into a pit, or he got eaten by a boar. You don't really know. It just became the explanation for any time someone disappeared.
Well, it's
That's where it
something
got from.
parents told children at night so that they wouldn't wander too far. It never seemed, when we got older, we just assumed it wasn't real.
No, it very much is.
Could it mean that we're close to the Eerie?
You are close to the area, and Taylor can certainly agree with that. So let us get there. Let's show you the rest of the way. But again, this does come back to also your feeling last night of, you had that sense of peace the night before that did sort of feel like, you felt like in a way you were touching the spirit, and that spirit was peaceful. This one is not.
Okay.
And that's just sort of a lingering feeling. You have that lingering sort of feeling in the back of your spine of something is angry, or at least not even angry as much as hungry. And you, meanwhile, have the continued, and it's still, those, you feel like there are more of these around here. It's back to, they are scared of you. Only the bravest sort of ventured forward, but you still have the sense, and there's more sort of around you. However, you do press on, and you do, as we get towards the end of the day, between the two of you manage to find the entrance to the Bloodroot area. Now, one of the things that also Roland had known, so in that 30 spread, what I should have probably told you, is that the area is actually underground. Most areas are structures. Again, basically, it's very hard to maintain structures here, and that so it is actually something where you basically find a mound. It's a big mound that has sort of a door in it that you're able to squeeze down into. Do you have any special precautions? You don't believe it was terribly big. And most areas aren't. But do you have any special precautions you want to take as you go in?
Did Dawn come and go, or not?
Yes, it did.
Oh, yeah. That is
2 sparks each,
Although I
right.
think
unless you're full.
Oh, actually,
Yeah.
no. Everyone give them back. That's the thing. That should have happened. So go ahead and take the wound again. But it doesn't. So that's the weird thing, is that dawn comes and goes and you don't actually notice it. You know, normally just at dawn you will feel revitalized, you will feel healed, and here you don't. And it's as if something, whatever this is actually blocking your connection to the Imperial Flame.
That ain't good.
Now, you don't know what that would mean if you died, but it's not exactly reassuring.
Yeah.
So
we find the entrance, right?
you found the entrance.
Can we hear anything? Is it overgrown where it's muffling sound, or is it empty still where we can hear
One of
if
the
there's something
things
moving around?
is that as you get even closer, this layer, basically everything is incredibly moist, and as I said, there's actually basically slime on things. And it's not as acidic, it's not acidic. It would be melting the whole forest if it was. But it's it's more sort of sticky. You'll like put your hand on a tree, and when you pull it back, it's leaves little tendrils. And you hear, the main thing you hear is sort of dripping. But you don't really hear movement, no. If there's any movement, you feel, again, it's more around you, watching you.
Now, when I was making all that noise the night before, were they actually responding back, or did they go quiet?
No, they went quiet. I mean, it was, again, they were scared and
I
nervous
just
of
wanted
you.
to check thoughts.
And again, like I said, you feel that there were a lot more, and that even now, they are not attacking you, both because you presented an imposing figure and then you did kill the ones that did attack. So, you do feel that they are intimidated by you, but, they're still there.
I'm concerned if we go in and we don't barricade the entrance, they could follow us down in here potentially.
That's a good point, but I think we should try and get this fire lit as soon as possible.
I'm going to actually pause for just one moment to say I'm going to turn something to the chat room, which is to say I would like people to give me an interesting detail of the Eerie, something inside it. And I'm going to basically just take the most interesting thing I get here. But what is something interesting in there? Meanwhile, continue.
Yeah.
That's just to give them a little bit of time.
And before I go in, I was wondering if maybe, since I'm sensing that there's definitely danger, and we're going to have to fight something, that I take somebody's wounds ahead so that they
That seems like a good
prepare
plan.
to be strong, and I can give that back.
Yep.
And I'm going to switch my fighting style that way. So, all right, I'm definitely ready to take somebody's wounds. Who wants to go in strong?
Okay, 2 wounds. And that will cost you a spark.
Okay.
Get you back on that spark.
Oh, that's right. Actually, you do. Because,
Hey.
no,
Oh,
you got rid of a wound. Okay, you
yeah.
will get her back. But all right.
Caleb, did you scout inside at all, or did you just find the outer mound?
I did, actually, briefly. I saw nothing inside. I just confirmed there was traces of the Ashmen inhabiting this place. I've recognized it for what it was, one of their places. It is somewhat ruined inside. There were collapsed stones and such.
Did you find a main room that seemed like it would accommodate a flame?
No, I did not. But I did not search it thoroughly.
Sure.
But it was certainly not. It was, went in the main entrance. It was not there immediately. Which is actually, tradition with Ares is to put the hearth somewhere relatively secure.
Sure.
When they're constructing a building, they usually put it like up on the second floor. Here it does look like they were adapting something that existed, but still.
Can I make an empire spread to see if if I recognize this construction or any styles about it?
Yeah. You'll get more when you go inside, but you can make the spread now, and you'll I'll build on it as you go.
Let's see.
No, I'm going to hit the bathroom.
Okay.
So that's 5, 6, 7, 8, and I'll use this as an.
All right, I got some good stuff. I'm going to make some notes real quickly before you go out. All right. Pen is dying at the inopportune time.
Got more pens there.
That's 15 on that spread.
I have to say, the the mechanical pencil ran out of lead and my pencil ran out of ink. I think there is something about this place does not want us
Dun,
to
dun,
know.
dun.
Sticky.
All right. Okay.
I have another question, actually.
Mhm.
Now, you said that each tree sort of feels like they have a place that's theirs. It's, a place of power. Mine was obviously pretty nomadic. Do we have a sense of where ours was, or was it just assumed there was one?
It was just assumed. I mean, that was the thing. Because you were so nomadic, you didn't have a place specifically. It's more that that's what generally caused trees to hold to a territory.
Got it.
Is essentially the sense that they have a relationship with a certain thing. And if anything, it's actually the reverse. The reason you have these stories of, the eyes and such is in part that the Grimmeri did not particularly trust the spirit of their land. You kept on the move almost out of the sense of, well, if we stay in one place too long, maybe it will find us. And again, that's superstition,
Sure.
But hey, then
Well,
it did.
apparently a little less
Yeah.
superstition now.
So there you go. All right. Okay. So you got a 15, you said? You certainly can confirm that this is a case where they have adapted something old. It is certainly not at all the style of, again, the people, the tree folk don't, when they do construct buildings, they're very simple sort of things. So you would certainly say this is something of the old kingdoms.
Okay.
And very little is known about the old kingdoms in the Grimwald, So Roland, of course, is very excited about. This is wonderful. I can't wait to see more.
We should keep him towards the back.
We should get Roland in there and to the fire, because the sooner we get the fire lit, I feel like the better we'll be doing. But I do like your idea of trying to bar the entrance behind us. I just don't know what to do.
I'm concerned that there's so much around us, something might follow us in, and then we're going to be flanked on either side.
Unless it's in here.
Well, it probably is, but we don't want more of it on the other side of us.
Should we stay half in, half out?
I don't think we're going to be able to explore while doing that. I mean,
Yeah.
Unless there's
Splitting the party, it always works well.
Is there anything around that, obviously, because we're stronger, because we're phoenixes, is there anything like a boulder or something that we can kind of pull behind us to kind of close up the entrance a little bit?
Well, here's the thing, is that he actually mentioned rubble inside.
Okay.
But actually, yeah, you can find a couple rocks and things like that, so you can start to build a barricade, sure.
Yeah, just something to
Go
at least
ahead and
help
give
with
me a
that.
strength spread. I'd want to see about 15. Your athletics will give you 5.
Does it have to be strength? The one time I have all the grace cards.
Unfortunately, it's pretty much a strength sort of thing. I mean, someone else could do it if you wanted.
Yeah, does somebody want to help me out with it?
I got no strength.
So you're at a
Yeah,
base
I
of
don't
5. You got 3 cards. What can you get?
I have superhuman reflexes, which I don't think is going to help me
not
very
really.
much here. I have a 2 strength card.
Wow. Okay. No.
Yeah,
not
like
so great.
literally having a problem here. I'm just so jarred by this thing being here.
Well, here's what I'm going to say is you might as well, in this case, it is a legitimate reason to make a spread. So you might as well at least go ahead and remember you can convert one of your grace into strength.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go
if you can get even a 10, that's going to help you somewhat. So boom, you're at 11. It's not
Okay.
fantastic. You could get it to 13 maybe. You could try and push it to 15. 15 is actually what I was looking for.
Yeah.
So if you dropped a card in, that would make it could make it up to 13, and you'd
Yeah, I
only need
could
to
drop
get
in
2
a
more.
couple- I
You
could
could
drop
drop
in a
in 2
couple
sparks.
I
'cause
think
you-
it's worth it to barricade ourselves a little.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm gonna give you 2.
Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and burn 2
All right.
sparks to get us up there, and hopefully draw some strength cards into my hand, because that was crap.
All right. So, wow, we got all kinds of great
Big
stuff
bucks,
from the
no
chat
money.
room here.
Oh man.
I'm pretty excited about some of
I
these.
got all the strength on the front end apparently.
Happens.
I'm gonna let that coin sit right there and stare at it for a very long time.
Yeah, this might be a great time for those of you out there to donate some XP or some cash
Oh yeah,
for some
we've got
redraws.
some. We've got some. Yeah, this is. We got lots of good stuff coming in here.
Yeah, so many draws would be
Okay, so going in. You're sort of taking up the back because you're building this barricade as you go in. Who is taking the lead?
I'll take the lead.
You go in, one of the things you find is that it is actually better lit than you would expect because there's plants, there's sort of vines running around the walls and such, and they're glowing. And you know, as I said, bioluminescent stuff happens in the Grim Wall, but this is pretty remarkable. It's like all the plants in here are glowing.
Okay.
Even things that you feel are not inherently luminescent on their own. And it creates this almost sense of veins, like as if the building had veins because they're just sort of all over the walls.
That's not creepy at all. Avatar.
And, you know, stepping in, you do find what looks like, you know, it's a small sort of entry hall. There's an altar, it looks like, perhaps a sacrificial altar. And you do find the walls, the floor is very uneven and slippery. And you see on the walls around, there's a couple things. The first thing you do see is just carvings of eyes. So like you walk right in and boom, there's this eye staring at you.
Great.
And so, oh, that's not creepy at all. And there's eyes sort of all over, you know, just scattered in everywhere you look, it's looking at you. But beyond that, you also have this sense, these scenes carved that are people, and they're people fighting. And they are fighting this vast array, actually, of different animals. And just sort of, over there it's a horde of rats just tearing at a person. Over there it's a wolf, you know, and it's just sort of different, you know, it's basically just people in an unfamiliar style of clothing being sort of torn apart by animals. Anything you want to do?
Other than freak out?
It's not creepy at all.
No, just sort of keep moving forward, trying to sort of, you know, working with Lyra to try and figure out where this flame, where the what's it called, the hearth is.
Yeah.
So I feel like if we get this lit, we're going to be in a way better situation than we were before.
That would be a good plan.
I agree.
I'm gonna poke at any of the vines and see if they act like normal vines or if they act like creepy veins inside a giant monster.
Or a third option.
All right, so you poke at them, and don't worry about the fact that I'm drying up. It doesn't mean anything. I could just be doing it for fun, for my health. So you poke at it, and sort of if you actually sort of cut it, sort of the luminescence fades from the part that's cut away. And so it doesn't actually bleed, but it is almost, you feel like it is drawing energy or supplying energy, you're not sure which, to the building. You two sort of thinking, you think it's almost, it is that the building is a source of power, and it's more that the building, the power of the building, the plants are drawing on it, and that's what's making them glow. It's not that the plants are strengthening the building, but it's almost more like a side effect. It's just there is power here, things that are coming into contact with it are being affected by it. It does seem, you know, it's a big space. You see one room that looks like it was probably used as a barracks, you know, long ago. So it's mostly things have rotted away. And there is rubble scattered around. There is one passage that's a spiral staircase going down. And it looks like it's going down a ways, you know.
Well, they're going
Promising?
to put the flame in the most secure spot.
I guess so.
Gotta go.
All right. Who's heading down first?
I'm gonna take a rock and kind of toss it, see how you hear how far down it goes.
Feels like it
Okay,
goes
so
quite
it's
a long
like
way.
a solid staircase, so it's not
It
like
is a solid
hollow.
staircase.
Okay. Well,
I take that back. Actually, I was thinking it wrong. It is more like it is a well, and then the stairs go around the edge of the well. So you can actually look down, and I mean, it gets sort of dark down there, but you know, even just dropping something and waiting to hear hitting the bottom, you would say it's probably 300 feet.
Yikes. Well, that has to be where we go. Do you want to scout ahead and we'll follow you up?
And we got to keep everyone close, tight to the walls.
All right.
All right, it's very slippery.
Can I sort of like burn out some of it and just clear it out so that we can walk?
I will accept that if you spend a spark.
Ooh.
I'm going to say 2 sparks.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, that will help keep poor Mo from falling and slipping and going to his doom. So nicely done.
All right.
Mo is safe. One thing you get as you go down
Here
is
for you, Mo.
the whole thing is basically carved through solid stone. And part of the weird thing is, well, there shouldn't be 300 feet of stone here. You know, that itself is weird. This sort of fits with your general understanding of Old Kingdom's architecture. Again, is certainly a lot of it seems to suggest use of magic. You know, so this whole place was likely somehow constructed through magic. You know, you think almost it was like this stone was more sort of poured down the hole or something, you know, so to speak, like concrete or something. Then they dug it through. You know, they dug a hole and they filled it with stone walls as opposed to just digging through stone. You do finally reach the bottom, and it is a chamber with a with the hearth. So this is what you're looking for, and there's a few things that catch your eye. Again, it's lit by the hearth is out. It's lit by all the glowing veins of plants. There is a statue that was holding a halberd, or is holding a halberd. Who's it a statue of? Is it a phoenix or is it something else?
Maybe they built on something pre-existing here.
We got 3 redraws.
Oh, nice.
Hey.
Thank you, whoever you are.
Thank you.
That is Nightsteed.
Thank you.
Okay. So as I said, was it a phoenix or is it something else?
I think it's a phoenix. I think it's an old phoenix.
All right. I will go ahead and say that it is the last Empress Justice. But it has been smashed. And so it has fallen on the ground. There is a rack of weapons, as you would expect. You know, that's how we set things up here. Except that these have been dissolved and scattered across the room. You know, and so there's pieces of sort of weapons scattered around. One thing that you find is there's a pool, a big shallow pool filled with green liquid that dominates the center of the room. There's also actually like a ladle sort of lying next to it, but the pool is actually about 30 feet across. It's very large. That dominates the room. And
Is it completely still, or does it feel like it has a sword?
completely still.
Completely still.
There is also what looks like an old well, a creepy old well.
You're home.
Now, it does, that actually seems to have water in it, but it's still kind of creepy. Okay, so what do you want to do?
So is this pool completely blocking our way from where?
No,
the
you can
hearth
walk
would
around
be,
it.
Or, okay,
You're not sure how deep it is or anything.
but we can get
Well,
around
let's
it.
get Roland and the rest of the team there trying to get that hearth lit then as soon as they can.
I think that's the wisest thing we can do.
Okay, so that's easily done. Now, here's the deal. Roland has, and he's fascinated by this place. He's like, this is amazing, these carvings. Oh, and I forgot to mention, as you went down the staircase, the carvings continued on the well. But one of the things you notice is a sort of increasing thread that a lot of the animals, you're not exactly clear, they look like they're either coming out of sort of slime, or you're not even sure if maybe it's that it is slime that is turning into animals or something, but you're this increasing sort of trend as you're getting below of sort of fluid with animals coming out of it attacking people.
So they should not be the first ones to go around this pool.
Well, someone would be going with them. But yeah, who's going to walk around the pool with Roman and Rusty, or anyone?
Well, they need to stay protected. It's going to have to be one of us that's testing and scouting ahead. And I'm happy to be that person.
Go. You have the most meat shields anyway.
Oh, good.
Okay. So you go around, and it's a little slippery, and you're a little nervous, and nothing happens. And you get there. You are able to safely get Roman there. He's like, oh, this is fascinating. He has a pouch of phoenix ashes, which are the necessary component to ignite a hearth. And he, okay, it looks like we have another, redraws for the table. So it says redraws for the table. So is that just one, or?
That's 3. I think.
Okay.
Well, is it 1 or 3? There's a 3.
From Mrs. Haranga Ham.
Huzzah, thank you.
All right. So you, so he takes out the ashes and closes his eyes and, sort of runs his fingers along the hearth, and he says, I will require solitude for this.
Oh, great.
I'm afraid it is not by choice. It is the ritual I cannot link to. I must link to the flame, and I cannot do it with the strength of your spirits so close.
How much solitude is solitude?
How far do we really need to
You
be?
could remain on the stairs, I would think.
Can
That's
I?
something.
Can I do some sort of a range thing to keep a bit of a field of protection around him from a distance?
Sure. I'll let you
Force field.
Yeah.
try it. Go ahead and give me a, we'll call it a spirit spread.
All right. Any particular card?
And I'm keeping an eye on the time. I know we're
Okay.
No, don't worry
getting
about
close,
that.
All right. Got these for
but
starters.
I think we should just work out okay. Okay, and you have 10 to begin with because you got 5 from spirits and 5 from thought coil. So you're at 21
Do I need
right
to burn
now.
a spark for that?
You would actually if you wanted that plus 5. So if you want to get to 21.
I want it.
Yep.
All right.
All right. I mean, basically, you have done, again, just sort of a protective thing. It's not like, oh my goodness, this will repel anything, but it at least is something, and it at least should help protect them from malign sort of forces and keep you. Means you can be, sort of a little closer. So you can be sort of right at the entrance.
Okay, yeah, I want to be right at the edge. I'm going to just keep a sharp gaze on the pool.
I'm gonna find a chunk of whatever pole arm and just gonna poke at the pool.
That seems advised.
It does sort of start melting in the polearm.
Is there
It doesn't twitch or anything, but
It means anything.
is there
comes out of
one
it.
long enough
And
to
it looks like
see
something
if
comes
how deep
out,
it is?
I guess.
It's not that deep. And you actually clunk, I mean, again, because it doesn't dissolve it instantly or anything. So yeah, it's actually only about maybe 4 or 5 inches deep.
Oh.
If you trace it around a little, you feel like there's a pattern sort of traced along the floor.
Okay.
I really want to know what this stuff is.
We will do.
All right.
I'm gonna take that ladle and kind of take a ladle full of it and take it over into another corner and kind of pour it into it.
Okay, first off, the ladle does not dissolve. The ladle's made out of some sort of stone, in fact, the same sort of stone as the building itself, and so just as a note, it's perfectly capable of picking it up. What are you trying to do with it?
Take it, like 10, 20 feet away and kind of pour it into another area and see if it...
It just sort of
Runs
spreads out,
back.
but yeah. Yeah, it just sort of spreads out. But
That is interesting that the stone seemed immune to the acid nature, though. I'm going to keep just staying right at that edge.
All right.
watching.
We ready to let him work on his ritual?
Yeah.
So, I would like either you to make an arcane spread or you to make a tradition spread. Either one.
How you doing on arcane would be grace or intellect?
Intellect.
I got one.
I don't have a lot of intellect. What about you on, and your tradition spread is also intellect?
Tradition spread, actually, in her case, she could use grace or intellect.
Okay,
Well, then you better do it, because I'm not going to be able to pull it off.
I'll do it. Okay. No.
This stuff's completely opaque, right?
Oh, yeah.
Even if you like shone a light on it, it wouldn't get.
It's
through
pretty
it.
thick, yeah.
All right. Bleh.
Okay, so you are at a base of 14. You could burn a spark to make it 19 with thought coil.
Oh, I'm getting close.
You are getting close. What's it going to be?
All right.
19? Yeah. Can anyone give her 20?
Wait, can I do?
No.
You guys. All right.
You could burn one more spark.
I want to. Yeah, I want to be able to pass on some. I just feel that something's coming, and I really
Okay.
want to be able to pass on some wounds if need be.
All right. Okay. You
Oh.
sort of are familiar with the ritual. You're just like, yep, that's the Flamekeeper ritual. All right. And an hour passes, and suddenly, the light ignites, and he's just been chanting this whole time. He's chanting in Pyrean, because again, that's the language used for most of this. But it's not really, some of it's Pyrean, some of it's just sort of words. And like I said, it all generally seems what you're expecting. And first, the flame ignites, and you almost sort of feel that presence, like suddenly you feel that connection, sort of that you were back, that you're missing. But he doesn't stop chanting. What do you do?
Well,
It's
you
still
would be able to
Pyrean.
know it was not right.
You don't know. I mean,
Oh.
it certainly, again, feels like, yes, this is ash sorcery. It feels like an ash sorcery ritual to you, and you haven't personally, this is maybe if you had a 20, you would know, but it seems legit.
I might like to approach him and just place my hands on him to get a sense of what's going on.
So, you know how you made that protective ward?
Uh-huh.
Well, it's actually still sort of, if anything, stronger than you made it. So you step into the room. He seems, as I said, to have actually reinforced that ward. And beyond that, things start shaking. So there's a rumble, and you realize that the pool is draining. And that basically the water's flowing down, and what you realize is that it's not actually a pool, it's like a door or a hatch, and that it's opening. So the liquid is flowing down it, and you now see as it drains away that it's this carved, elaborate sort of symbol. And as you approach him, again, your passage is sort of slowed by the ward, he actually produces a knife, and he stabs himself. Now,
She can't die.
I think
Yeah.
here's the thing. Because he's done the ritual, part of the thing is that, it takes phoenix ashes to ignite a flame. However, and it's ignited to him and he is dying. Now, however, it's not like because the ritual is there, it's not going to go out instantly. But with him dying, it is going to go out. And you have no idea exactly why he would do this. You do feel, again, there was something that part at the end clearly was not part of the ritual, but unfortunately you couldn't quite figure out what he was doing. And he's collapsed, rust is, and as I said, the well is now, or not the well, there is a little well still, but the pool has now become a giant hole in the ground.
Is the shield still active?
It's now actually fading,
Okay.
but it's still a little there.
Do you have that next?
I do. I'm thinking about
Yeah, but I'm
and
not
how-
so sure who
Yeah.
we want to bring back.
But I think we need to remember that she has it
Yeah.
for future reference.
And we have a little time on him if we need.
Well, I mean,
if
I'm
we,
saying
if
you've
we
got
choose to
minutes,
use it on him.
like not very long.
Okay.
It is true. You might be better off actually saving a person who might be a good flamekeeper than
Yeah.
the weird person here.
But it's good to remember we have it because
Oh, yeah.
we got to get them
I'll-
over there.
I'll call out to Lyra, like something to the effect of, "You ready to do this? It looks like it's your time.
She's shocked, but all right.
What do you need?" And I'll draw my talon and like start getting between her and the hole.
I don't know. I'd better get over there.
Yeah,
So,
I'm still on the
So
edge, kind
I'll-
of like
all right. So
watching.
you're going to
Escort
try
her
and
over.
escort her over. Okay. So the two of you start getting over there, and as you get closer, something rises up out of the pool, or the hole. At first, you just think it's the pool, but then you realize that it's still coming.
Oh God.
And that it is basically just this rising pool column of the green goo, but as it rises up, it starts to form. You see eyes forming along the edge, and you see tendrils coming out, and as one comes out, claws form at the end of it. And it's sort of spreading out and reaching out. So, you're right out there. Howdy. Let's see if I have enough here. All right, this is 10. In fact, hey, we'll just, oh no, you're gonna put spreads there.
Then we got to
So-
lay down the.
Oh, it's coming. So you're gonna have this, but first of all, it's an attack with a value of 10.
Okay.
So it is just swarming towards you, and one tendril is a wolf leaping at you. Another one is just razored claws slashing at you.
It's an attack value of 10, and is 10 the? Is it an all or nothing, or is it?
No, this
Okay.
is a damage attack.
So, I'm in frostbite style, and I'll defend at 8.
Okay. So that means 2 points get through. It's a single damage. So
2 divided. Oh, so it's one.
it's 1 wound.
One wound. I'll take that wound. That gives me 2 sparks back, and gives everyone here a spark.
Okay.
Next.
You also please mix that into your unshuffled deck.
Oh, okay.
Do you need
I'm
it?
still.
You can shuffle it up as much as you want, but I'm just saying it goes into your unused deck.
Okay. Wow, that's going to be big. Well, at least.
All right. And you feel basically, even though it digs into you, but you almost feel like it's left something in there.
Okay.
We have environmental elements.
Do I draw up on this, or is this still part of
This
the
is
round?
still part of your turn.
Okay.
This is basically, it is making an attack that you are going to take a turn.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, and I forgot. We have also. I can't write upside down easily. Can someone put corpse on there? Because it is the corpse of Roland.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so as I said, lashed out. It does manage to connect with you, and technically, just so you know, you could have let Lyra die, but I assume that you would choose not to. And you feel still a little pain from that wound. Now it is your turn. You
All
have
right.
a torch. What do you do?
So I'm drawing from my frostbite combat style, and that's where my power is becoming entropic as a result of my cursed. So I'm going to add my curse to that.
Okay.
I'm basically going to draw from the
Does
curse.
that let you draw a card when you use it?
Draw a card when you use it, and in addition, you may use this card in the spread. You may burn a health level for 4 sparks. I'm not going to do that,
But draw a card.
but I'm going to draw a card. And I'm basically going to draw power from the curse itself. Like I'm going to let myself fall to the curse because I need the energy for that. And then I'm going to call lightning as well.
Okay, I'm going to give you an extra. I'll give you the value of 4 for the curse, just because technically you're doing something, but you're going to pay for it, is
Okay.
what I'm saying. Okay, so 4, and then you're doing Calm Lightning, and Calm Lightning ignores its defense, right?
Yes, it does.
Which is a very big deal with a defense of 8, so nice
So
job.
I'm going to take out my talon. I have my talon in my hand, and like the lightning is starting to sort of like spark and grab stuff in the room, and I'm going to reach down and grab a handful of the half-dissolved weapons, and I'm basically going to throw them in the air and throw the talon at it. So I'll make a ranged attack with the talon.
And draw a card
And draw a
for
card.
using a.
And that's the affliction.
Oh, nice. Okay. You feel that it left a piece of it in itself in you, and it is now expanding and burrowing within you. So you take another wound that can't be defended in any way.
All right, and I'll take 3 sparks back from that then.
Go.
And everyone else can grab
yeah.
a spark because of my bond with you guys.
Good.
So
Yeah, I keep trying to use them, but
You keep it.
I
Okay,
can't.
so I'm gonna throw my sword at it as a ranged attack, and I'm gonna throw the rest of the half-dissolved weapons, and I'm gonna let the lightning arc into all of them. So like use them as like a big giant like lightning net around them.
Wow, nice.
And so that is.
I'll give you brutal damage for that.
Okay, so that's 5 for these two, plus 4, 5, 6, 7. So that is
12.
12.
So it's 12 brutal.
12, 13, 14.
Good, because that rounds us up. So that's 5 down so far.
And then I'm going to sort of, recover as best I can.
So, I mean, basically, a large part of it just sort of freezes, and, a significant part of it, you just basically destroyed half of its mass.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
pretty impressive, and just shatters and sort of collapses down back into the hole.
And I regain a spark, as does everybody else,
All
because
right,
of my
yay.
frostbite style. So everyone take a spark back. I'm a big giant spark generator.
Hey.
And I'm going to pass the torch.
All right, who to?
Well, yeah, okay.
Looks ready. Yeah, she's like, I'm
well, I've
ready
to
to
standing right on the edge of the
Okay,
pool face.
then-
Here's actually a trick. Before you do anything else, do you still have any cards in your hand before you draw?
2.
Okay, here's the thing. To reach the hearth, it is going to take 15 points of grace,
Okay.
extended. So if you have any grace in your hand, you can just toss that in towards that.
Okay. So
What do you got?
here's 4.
Okay, so it's
And
going
then
to
I
take
draw back
11
up again? Or?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm just saying, so, we're 4 of 11 towards, you sort of stop to blast the thing. But
This is getting Lyra to the heart.
getting there to the hearth
Okay.
on time.
And I'm going to burn a spark to flip over
Valora?
before my turn ends.
All right.
Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I need as much attack as I can, so I'm going to go ahead and just let her sink a little further into Beast and go ahead and take a wound so I can
What's
have
that look
higher
like?
attack. So I mean, she's just gonna just like shake it out, and just like things are just gonna kind of start shifting and cracking a little bit, so that she starts looking more wolfy. Like teeth get a little longer, her legs start to reshape a little bit, her shoulders get a little more hunched. And I'm gonna go over and I'm actually gonna grab, since I saw him messing with the ladle and it was stone, I'm gonna grab a piece of the toppled statue and kind of try and use it as a shield and take my axe, and I'm gonna try and leap in and like smash it with that and come down at the same time with my axe.
Okay.
Sorry, everyone can have another spark back because I hit that affliction again.
Oh.
I went in the redraw.
Burrowing deeper
Boy.
into you.
And I'll take, I don't think I actually have space for them, but I'd take 3
So
back.
I can draw a card because I used environmental element, right?
Yes, you can.
Okay, I'm gonna shift those a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and start out with, let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and use superhuman reflexes because I'm just jumping into it. I've just, kind of gone into it. I'm gonna go ahead and burn a spark to draw another card.
Okay.
So I have another one in my hand.
And because, certainly Kelvin's keeping people in sparks.
Yes, that too. So I can play another couple of cards then here too.
Give you, in this case, a +4 to the spread. This is not so much because, it's a huge attack, but I'm saying basically using the statue piece makes it easier
Sure.
to attack it.
So, because I got the +4 attack, I've got the 2 wounds I can add in.
So you're at 8, 10, so 15 so far.
I'm going to go ahead and throw in, can I throw in Horrific Vision? Because he's just watched me, kind of wolf out here, and so
18.
it's going to make him exposed for the rest of the scene.
It's
I'm also
pretty
exposed.
amazing that you are managing with your crazy wolfiness to terrify the giant, but you are. So good job.
Okay.
And are you also enraged?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
So I can throw in another card here, right?
2, right? Because
Another
superhuman
2?
reflexes wouldn't have counted. Oh, and Nora's horrific vision, right?
Yeah.
So I can throw in another 2 here.
Yeah, one more after this, yeah.
Well, actually, I can't keep using the grace cards because.
Right, because no, you can. You're bitter.
Can I?
You can use strength or grace, correct?
Well, it says you makes sure you can use any one
right,
card.
right. But look at your combat style.
Oh yeah, I guess.
You're good at attacking. That's what you do.
All right.
Okay, so
And I'm gonna
remind me
throw it
again. We had given you, so you had a base of 10 from Talon, 2 wounds, and the 4 bonus I gave you.
Yes.
Then you added another 10, so 20. Then you gave superhuman reflexes and horrific vision, and visage. So 24. Plus, you've exposed it, which means you have already dropped its that to 5 in the first place. So you just completely splatter it and yay! Everyone's happy. Congratulations. High fives all around. Draw back up. Nope, keep that out. Because here's the problem.
Go ahead, take this
More of it comes out.
back. Yep.
Now the good news is that, well, if you hadn't destroyed what you destroyed, there'd be even more of it.
Did you have grace cards left in your hand before you drew up to add to getting us there? Extendeds can be multiple people, or is it just me and her?
At this point, it's really just me and her. I'd let her
Okay.
add 1 card. I'd
Okay.
let other
Okay,
people
I
add
do
1.
have
They're
a-
kind
I
of
did have
pushing
two.
directly in my. So okay, I'll let
Do I
you
need
can
to
add
set it out or do I
Yeah,
put it back
now
in?
they just put it. So we have a total of
9.
6.
All right, I'll put it right here.
You have 9 left, is what you need. Now, here's the thing I'm going to tell you, just so you understand what you're dealing with here. With this creature,
Oh, I stopped being exposed, right?
no,
Oh,
because
that-
it
okay,
never
that's all part of
died.
it. Yikes.
Luckily for you, that means it is still exposed.
Got it.
Here's the deal. It is endless. It is filling that that hole. Who knows how deep? You suddenly realize, yes, there's a super weapon here, but it's not for you. So, its attack, it can make as many attacks as it wants using a pool equal to the number of health levels on it. So I'm saying it's 10 right now. If you hadn't done anything, it would be 20. So I'm
Right.
saying the longer it's out there without being hurt, it is hurt. By hurting it, you are keeping it from being able to completely slaughter you.
Right.
But it is not going away. And I think it's attacking you
Of course it
because
is.
so basically you do just shatter it, and you are just smashing it down with the statue, destroy everything that's there, and for a moment we all take a deep breath. We think it's good, and then suddenly there's just this torrent, fountains up, slashing and clawing at you.
Okay.
And just all these razored tentacles slashing at you. And here's the thing. It's 4 wounds. Because you can't defend right now. You're enraged and
Yeah.
exposed. So it's 4 wounds, which would kill you instantly. But here's the thing. Each one of your buddies can take 1 wound. So you could either let both of them die and you will survive, or you could save one of them.
Fuck.
This is like the harshest one so far. Oh my god, the hardest mission.
Well, I do try to live up to a certain standard.
Bravo.
It's your game. You got to bring it.
I mean, I can come back as an attendant spirit and let them.
Yes,
help
you certainly
guys
have a
out.
ton of
And I have a
sparks.
lot of sparks to burn. And honestly, it seems fitting to have another kind of bitter failure here in the Grimwald. I know that Joe is necessary, and I can't. Well, I can't let the whole thing is like.
Well, here's the thing. Just to at least give you a choice. Joe and Mo, you want to have at least one of them because they
Yeah.
are tied to the family. If Joe dies, then Mo is necessary. Caleb is certainly very valuable for this unit because he is a scout. He knows the area. It's not like he does not have value to the area.
Yeah.
He's going to be a better hunter, things like that.
Yeah.
So, I do think they both have something going for them, but they do both have something going for them. It's not like you're being selfish if you save Caleb.
Yeah. But I can. So it's either
Either
Tell me
you
the options
save
again.
one of them and you die, or you kill both of them and you survive with 1 wound. And with 1 health level. Basically, you're taking 4 wounds and each one of them could take 1 of those for you.
And no one else can help her with this.
No one else can
No.
help her with this.
you know what? Taleb is kind of what's left of what I already lost the first time around. And I'm not going to let that happen again with like one of the only people that's actually left for my tribe. So Joe is going to end his great romance with Taleb and eat shit. And Taleb's gonna be able to get out of the way. I also have Death Wish in my hand, so I feel like I would have been like, no, not again, and go ahead and take that blow.
If you have Death Wish in your hand,
Which I do.
I will let you save both of them.
I do have Death Wish in my hand.
So you do just die and get torn apart, but you are able to push them away.
Yeah. Just be like, not this again.
Yep.
I've already done this. You guys don't deserve this too.
I will say that your death is that much more horrible. And it is just basically these tendrils just burrowing into your body and just tearing you apart.
And
there's just an
I'm
explosion
gonna shove them and just be like,
of things.
I've done this before. I can handle it again. Fuck this.
I'm just saying Taleb will always have a piece of you with him because literally there's like teeth and stuff.
All right.
All right.
Okay, now the thing is, she's dead. So first of all, someone's got to take responsibility for her buddies.
Right.
And each of you, can take one. So who's taking who?
I'll take Taleb.
All right.
Joe and Mo hang out, or do you want to give Joe? If you give Joe to Lyra to you, then you've at least got
A
technically
pad
a
if
buffer.
yeah,
I
come
feel
on.
like I'm having like
I mean, you can use a meat.
the momentary
like this.
flashback to
All right.
dying the first time by the dread, and it's like this shit again.
All right, pass the torch
Caught up
to
soon,
one of
Oh,
these.
who are you attending?
Yeah, who are you going to attend?
Normally it would be Eerie, but I think in
I'll
this
take-
case, because Kelvin's just gonna get shit done, I'm actually gonna go bug
Yep.
Kelvin.
Okay,
have
pick
his
one of
specialties.
your standard traits. Pick one of your standard traits.
Traits of the
Traits,
cards.
the cards, so like Vengeful, Death Wish,
Yeah.
that type of thing.
Pick one that you think I'm going to need you to
Yeah.
teach me about. So Death Wish,
Yeah.
probably not so much.
Probably not.
Not that I'm opposed to that, but
Well, you still have a little bit of honor, so I think I'm gonna go with Ruthless.
all right.
I'm gonna
All
give
right.
you that, so maybe you have a little bit more edge.
Sounds great.
Just 1 second.
Oh, do you want to grab her skill cards, Eerie?
Oh yeah, if you got that trait, then do it.
Yeah, what do you?
On your skill specialties.
Okay.
Yep. All right. Yep. Okay.
I want those back when I come back. All right.
All right. Now, as I said, who did you pass the torch to? You passed it over there. Okay. So you realize again, it is just flowing out. Now, it is the case. If people don't keep attacking it, it's going to get even bigger and be able to do even more attacks next time. But on the other hand, it is just coming along. I'll let you add one grace card to their pushing them closer to the thing. So they're at 9. They need 9 points right now. So as I said, if you want to just give them a
thanks.
grace card, it'll push them that much closer to the hearth.
Oh, okay, so I'm just letting them.
Yeah.
So
So
that's
boom.
just-
Okay. They now need. So you are at. You are at 9 now. So you need 6 more points to get there. And then what do you do?
Okay, so I'm just gonna.
Taleb is screaming. He wants to attack this thing, but
So I've got both Rusty and Taleb also like behind me with a vengeance.
I'm going to say that for this, the duration of this combat, Taleb actually is going to give you a +2 to attack spreads because he is just so furious. So maybe a touch of your spirit is
Yeah.
guiding him to.
Oh, he remembered Lala finally.
All right, so I'm using Passing Pain right now, so I'm going to try to transfer some wounds on a pretty standard attack.
Gotta get 5 up to get there.
Okay, so that's just, okay, I need to save my Idalia cards. Okay, so first I need to do a spread just to get to 5, period.
Oh, well, you need to get over 5 to pass the pain.
Oh,
Because it's got a
To hit it,
defensive
because
5.
it's been, that is exactly right.
okay. So I'm going to burn 1, oh, that's a skill spread. All right.
Okay, I will
Jeez.
note that actually what he screams is, Atla!
Oh, he finally used my name
Here's
asshole.
Ellie.
You're already at +2, so you just need to put at least like 4 up to get there.
Okay, so I've got these guys. One's at
Okay, that noble
Mostly
helps
traits,
others.
but yeah.
Savior's
I'm
an
trying
add
to-
to others spread too. Yeah, all right.
I've been trying to save my intellects
I
for my
know, but
main
you got a
attack,
lot of
but
them. Yeah, all right.
why did I use passing pain? I don't have a lot of options.
Well, it will be good because if you can
All right.
if you can do it.
You can pass pain to put 6.
So wait, hang on a second. You're using passing pain. You needed to get 5. It uses grace. It uses grace. You can turn one card into grace, so you turn that into grace. Now you're just 1 point off,
Oh, I'm just a bit down.
and then you could do one of those if you wanted.
Okay.
I believe I will accept noble in this circumstance.
All right, because I'm trying to take my turn to
Yeah.
help battle this
Okay,
beast.
so that means you have hit. So then passing pain, you can still only pass 1. But for a spark, you take one of those away and hurt it a little bit. Okay.
Ay, ay, ay.
And anything else, or are you done?
I can't do much else, so
Okay.
I'm passing it on.
Pass that torch. That would be Eerie. And Eerie, it's up to you to beat it down before it makes it. After you, it's going again. And it's going to have
at
another
least
10
10.
points on top of whatever it's got now. But you know, you have a secret weapon. You have Mo.
Gosh, actually, no. What?
And don't forget, we got a ton of
redraws.
of redraws here, which frankly, again, I'd start using those. That's a lot to
Sweet,
to
sweet
use.
redraws.
Correct.
I'll just dream of them.
The well is like just a hole in the ground, or is it like one of those? It's got the
Oh, it's a
stone
total
thing built
creepy
up
stone
and-
built around, around it. As I said, it does appear to be fresh water, so it doesn't seem to go into whatever this thing is coming out of.
Yeah. And there's no devices or anything, or like cranks or anything that's sort of like that.
No, no, you have no idea. Like, all you could assume is that it was presumably something to do with the ritual Roland performed.
Yeah.
That something he did caused it to open.
Punch it. Punch it hard.
I'm gonna try and crack the ladle, like make a point on it, and then just go in and just
Stab,
dive right in.
stab.
Yep.
All right. I am thinking about the ladle. I'll give you +2 to your attack spreads for the ladle.
Ladle it to death.
Spoon.
All right. To draw.
All right, so you're 4 so far.
Terrifying.
Sure.
It's the scariest ladle it's ever seen.
Okay, so again, it's sort of unusual under the circumstances that you are able to terrify a thing like this, and yet somehow you guys are just really scared. I mean, it's already exposed. So do you want to stun it?
Yeah.
Because that's really important, because basically that means, again, you're going to get one more round after this before it goes again, which is a pretty big deal.
And you can still put 1 or 2 more cards in the spread, depending on what you're
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So 6, 7, 8, 9.
10,
All
11,
right.
12 from.
And are you going to add to percussive strikes?
Yeah, I'm gonna burn that for 2 more.
Okay.
+3 from epitaph.
Okay, so that's 5. I gave you 2 for the ladle, so 7, 10, 14. All right, so that's 9. So that is a perfect 3 wound attack. Do you have enough to make a second one, or you?
I do not.
Do you have a grace card to add to their spread? And given that you can turn any card into a grace card, you certainly can do something.
Yeah. Can I, how much do
Yeah.
we need?
We need 6.
6, so you at least get 3. All right. So there you are.
So I just need 3.
So who do you want to give the torch to?
I'm dead. So.
So it's one of the 2 of them,
Yeah.
or a new cycle, so it could be either of them.
I got it.
Okay, so you're 3 away.
Yeah, I'll use
The
just
flame is starting to gutter. You know,
Alright.
you're close enough that you should get there before it goes out.
I'll use my superhuman reflexes to push us there.
That'll do.
And I'll draw a card, and I'll burn a spark to draw another card from that.
All right, and that's close enough. Okay, so you push there. Now here's the thing. She places her hands on the hearth, and what you realize is, you know, basically, she doesn't have time to do the standard ritual. And on top of that, you know, I mean, basically, he died before the ritual happened. You don't have more phoenix ashes, and it's the ashes of a final death, so it's not like, oh, your ashes actually could be used here.
The ashes are worthless.
So you need to basically jumpstart this process. So basically, between the two of you, we're talking about another extended spread. This time it could be arcane or it could be tradition. You know, I mean, it's basically you're
Okay.
sort of helping channel. You've got to channel it through her. You'll get a +5 to the spread because you're working with her.
Okay.
But basically here, we are looking for an extended spread. Only the two of you can add to. You can both play as many cards as you want in that spread, but it is going to be a total of 60.
Can I throw in sparks
All right.
as well because
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
cleaning him?
60?
And 60, well, I mean, again, total.
And is that over time?
That
or?
is over time.
Okay.
All right. So do I have time to like take an action this round? Or
Oh,
not?
sure, you can do anything you want. I'm just
Okay.
saying that it is, what she
Okay.
thinks, looking at it, is that it is the power of the flame, basically, is what he used to open it. She can use it to close it, and if the flame is sort of strong and persistent, it will keep it closed and sort of cut off its thing. So until she's bound to it, that door stays open. But you can do anything you want, you know,
Right.
in the meantime. So yes, if you want to just burn the crap out of a
Right.
bunch of points, you could do that.
Well, I'll put some into the spread to start.
Yeah, and you get, basically you can only sort of do the spread once per round, but you're going to get a
Okay.
base of 10 just for doing a spread.
So
So
that's,
that's 17 right
17, and then I'm going to use astonishing luck.
Okay.
That it actually happens that this was something that I had discussed with like some other elementals about restarting flames and what happens if the ritual stops in the
nice.
middle. So I
It is
remember.
a fascinating question, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's not one that anyone had any answers to, but I remember that one of the other elementals had something that might work here, and I'll burn a spark to make that 4.
Okay,
So that's
21.
21.
Now, you had a certain savior card, although you could save that for an attack or a defense or
do.
something
And I
like
can
that.
Also,
Yeah, why don't you throw some sparks into that too?
Do you want to just do the whole thing?
Okay.
Because I'm already dead. So I'm not going to be helping you, and I don't think you really need Ruthless here.
Save at least one so I can borrow Ruthless for this
Okay.
next attack.
Then I can go ahead and throw in another 8.
All right.
I'm going to just go ahead and throw them in the pile
Okay,
there.
so that means you're at 29 of the necessary
60.
60.
All right.
Do you have, you can throw in just 2 if you wanted, or you could do something else.
I'm gonna burn a spark to add 5.
Just hold on one more
Okay,
second.
well, hold on. That's. I'm just saying, do you want to add anything to his spread?
Oh, okay, I do.
If you had like a small crappy card, or if you wanted to use Savior or something like that.
And that can add.
Because
Oh, is
it's
there?
going to go before you get to
Yeah.
go, unfortunately.
All right, let's go for Savior. That adds 5 too.
Okay,
All right.
boom. So you're up to 34.
Can I draw?
And that's all I think I can manage this time.
Yep.
But then I'll turn my attention at it.
Okay.
Miraculously, having pulled Call Lightning again,
Woo!
I'll like pull the lightning crackle out as best I can. And so there's one of those. I'm going to grab the corpse of the Flamekeeper and
Nice.
be like, "You already ruined it. You have to take it with you." And I'll throw him out, and I'll arc the lightning between my talon and him. I'm gonna flip the talon here.
Okay.
I'll draw a card from that. So let's see here. That was Call Lightning, and then I'm going to. So that's the flipping the talon plus 2 attack. Then I'm going to draw 2. Thank you, chat, because I need some more muscle here, and that's just what I needed. So that's 8. And I can add 1 more to that spread. No, I have a total of 2. none of these really apply, so I'm going to hang on to that.
Okay, so it's 9 plus 2 for Valoria is.
Oh yeah, and sorry, and I'll attack brutally. I'll use.
Sure.
I'll let Varya sort of speak through me, and I'll like.
All right.
Murder him in
That's
the
another
face.
2.
Yeah, and I'll burn her last spark to do it. So that.
Yep.
That's
That's 2 more.
so.
So that's 2 for. So
just doesn't
currently
want to use
looking
his
like 13 is what I'm seeing.
13, yeah, against no defense.
Against no defense. Well, that's good. And in fact, that would normally be 12 and not get over there, but because it's Varya's brutal last spark, I'm going to make it brutal.
Woohoo!
All right.
And then I will discard a card because I can, because it's the end of my
Yep.
turn, and I'm going to draw 3. Toot toot toot. And I am going to. Oh, and sorry, because I did damage, I'll regain a spark, as will
And
everybody
everyone
else.
else.
And then these are more back from the
All
pool.
right.
And I guess you can also take these back because these cards are going to go back into circulation.
Okay.
You wrote down how much we had applied to this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Oh, sorry. I'll burn one more spark to flip the talent
Flip
back
it
over.
back? Okay.
Is that your sparks? Yes.
Yeah.
Take that.
All right.
That would have been convenient.
Okay, so. Yeah.
Oh, that's
save it.
my. No, this is my
That's-
discard.
Oh.
Okay. Draw back up just so we can see if you get an inflection
it.
or anything like that. Because it surges out and it is just a wave of teeth and claws coming towards you. At this point, it certainly seems actually to be intelligent. It is certainly recognized that what you're doing is the threat. Yeah, we're getting there. I think we'll just make it.
No, that was someone. I have a smartwatch. Someone just
All
texted
right.
me.
Okay, so
Was
it is.
stunned?
Oh, yeah, no, it was. It
And
was
this is
going to
the-
attack
yeah.
after you.
Oh, okay.
And so the fact that you got that whole extra round was because, which is good because he took off a pile of tokens in addition to doing things. But it is coming at you in a wave of teeth and claws, and it is an attack of 11 this time.
That ain't good. Let's see here. And it's Grace, so let's get a 6. Thanks again, chat.
Thanks, chat.
Thanks, chat. I don't have any more Grace, so the best I can do is 6. That's going to make it 5. 5 divided by 2 is 2. I'll survive it, but one of these two will
That's
will
right.
drop.
If
Oh,
everybody,
sorry.
okay, if everybody.
Sorry, it's 6, 7, 8.
All right.
So
Yes.
it's 8, 11. It rounds down, so it'll only be 1 wound.
Unless it's brutal.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Well, if it is, poor Joe is going to
All right, chat, does anyone have any suggestions as to a heroic way for Joe to die?
Oh, Joe.
Oh my god.
All right, Joe.
All right, take it back.
Just like that.
All right.
And I'll take a wound.
Yes, you will.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Luckily for you, the affliction thing isn't like, oh, you get one every time you're wounded. It's just that now it is a part of you.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I'll grab
here's-
2 more sparks from that
Yes.
and 1 for everybody else.
Here's the bad news. What you are realizing, are you good?
Yeah.
Is that thing inside you, you're not sure it's going to go away even if you close this door.
Oh, Christ.
So yeah, it's not looking good. All right. Anyhow, but it has now gone, so you can pass it to, because it's a new cycle, either of them. She's, of course, the one who can possibly complete the ritual.
I'll take it.
Yeah, all right. Do your best to complete the ritual, and then it'll be both of them before it goes again, or no? It'll be
Yes.
okay, yeah. So we'll both get it.
Yep, it is. Each of them gets to go, and then it goes again. It's every other, but you slowed it down that one time because of the thing.
Okay, so I'm gonna join up with Lyra and try to keep on getting this flame going. Sorry, is that yours? Okay.
Yeah, these are mine.
I'm going to use intuitive because I'm starting to catch on to some of the ritual, and maybe I can add something to it that speeds it up a little bit since I see sort of where she's chanting and I'm going to add
All right,
those guys.
I have to pause for a moment to tell us the dramatic saga of Joe.
Oh,
Joe, who's deaf,
So
planned by
Joe-
committee.
And basically, again, there's just a wave of different creatures, some kind of cat-like thing slashing at you, a wolf coming up between, just a tentacle barbed with, different claws lashing at you. The one does basically sort of take a huge chunk out of your leg. You know, sort of wolf is like tearing at your side.
Wasn't me.
And then you see the tentacle and all the slashing coming down, and Joe does leap forward in front of it, and he says, I've always loved you. Keep this and remember me, and tears off his mustache and throws it to you as he gets shredded, and the mustache clings to your arm.
He secretly loved you the whole time.
He did. You realized you didn't choose him. He chose you. And rest in peace, Joe.
Lord have mercy. What a glorious death.
Okay, but the mustache remains. Okay, so we were back up to intuitive, and I will give you 3 points for intuitive as well.
Cool, and then I can add that guy. And I'm gonna throw in a spark to get 5 more to this.
Okay, and did you do the effect of intuitive to draw a card? I think you... Intuitive has some
Oh yeah, I
kind
get to
of...
draw another one. Yeah, I just draw an extra
Yeah.
one.
Oh, and it's worth 5 in a spread, is that right? So yeah, it is just worth 5. So okay, boom. So that is 16 plus 5 for your tradition, so 21.
5 more.
Okay. And you were at 34, so 26 is all you needed.
Nice.
Okay, so you have finished the ritual. Now, she starts chanting, and it starts closing. But do you have anything else you want to do, or did you redraw already?
I just redraw.
Then it is over to you. You know, it's closing, but it's not like it just snaps shut. So.
Oh, crap. I don't have much time to get up there.
I'm gonna touch him. Thank you.
I gotta just give a good old sidekick to the creepy well, knock off as large a chunk of stone as I can, sort of like swing around and fling it like a discus at it.
All right. I would have been very sad if you had not used the creepy well, just because. So draw a card.
Cool. Thank you. A little extra splash. Thank you. From the hand of the dead.
The supplier.
Can I use blur of motion to kind of whip it around faster?
You bet. And I'm going to give you another 2 to your attack because for this round, all attack spreads are going to be +2 because Mo is, needless to say, out for blood. And Mo, it's crazy. His mustache is like, it's lashing at them. It has the strength of 3 mustaches. And so what are we up to?
He's got to draw up.
4.
Oh, so 6 because you got Mo in there.
6.
And you've got Epitaph, so 9.
Ooh.
So you can put 1 more card into this one.
Can I touch him up?
Yeah.
Cool. That's 2.
Okay. So 11. 15. Okay.
Allergic to mustaches.
All right. So 15 is going to take 3. You can make another attack if you want. And don't forget, I mean, at this point, you've got a +5 to any attack you make. Plus, you just got a percussive strike. So.
And there's some redraws too.
Might as well burn him out.
Oh yeah, definitely use redraws.
We'll have faith that the chat will
it's not
supply
going on
more.
much. Well, and it's not going on much longer. I mean, you know,
All
this is
hail the chat.
All right.
yeah, this is it.
Draw an extra one.
Okay, 9, 12. So that is 2 more.
Yerp.
Yerp, that it?
Yeah,
All right, do you want to make another attack or you're done?
I'm done.
Okay. All right, well, let's decide. Oh, for a Durant who could force people to attack them. I am going to, so here's the deal. It just got its strength back. It is not getting any more. So now, you know, the door has closed, but you still got to deal with the piece that's up here. And it is going to, debating between the two of you, or if it splits its attack. I think it'll split. So I think it's going to do 10 to you, 6 to you.
Okay.
So I got a couple from Rusty, right?
You do, actually. That's good.
Yay.
Oh, thank you, gods.
Chat gods.
Yes, thank you, chat gods. There's 9, and I can't burn a spark on this.
But you got +2 from.
Yo, that's yeah. So there we
so
go.
you're
I
good.
got it.
Phew.
Thank you, chat. You made that possible.
So I'm just gonna do one card because I got Rusty, and my defense is only grace. Even though I'm gonna save my intellect for attack. So that 7.
Yeah, that does it. All right. So you are fine, and do you want to see if he can finish it off?
I can finish it off. Do I think this piece is going to follow me through death, or is it just something?
Oh no, definitely not. It's a
Okay.
physical. It's a
But
physical ailment, but you're not convinced that it may stick around. I'm just double checking. I'm double checking to see. Let's see.
Well, I hadn't wanted to push.
Yes, you don't think there's going to be a way to get rid of it inside you.
All
So
right.
yeah.
Well, then Kelvin is going to run up and be like, I wasn't exactly planning on racing ahead quite so much, but I'll see you at the Eerie. And then he sort of ducks in on himself and basically just lets the fire out, which for him is a terrifying thing, as he's not sure how much of it he's going to get back. So that is a spread of 5 plus incinerate.
Okay.
And I'll drop 2 on incinerate, so that is 6. So that's 6, 7 plus 5 plus the rest.
So that is 12. And then
Sorry, these are 1 each, right?
Yeah.
So one will flip it over, and then
okay.
and then then
So
plus
14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. And I'm just going to give it to you. Frankly. You know, it is just, he is pouring in everything he's got in there. Although, actually, I say I'm going to give it to you as if I'm doing you a favor.
It looks like
Oh, it was bigger than I thought. All right, well, that's, no, 16. It's only just, I'm just quickly curious, 45. Yeah, you know, but like I said, it is, because you are pouring everything into it, it is just a torrent of flame that just consumes it, burns it down until there is just nothing left, except a twitching mustache.
and
Although I have to say, I think the mustache is in fact consumed with you, so, but it may be with you in the crucible.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
good. Maybe
That
I'll
Joe's
come back with
mustache.
it on my face. And as it happens, I don't. It didn't technically kill me, although it probably should. So I'll actually use fire and blood to add 6 more to that we don't need. So it actually.
Oh, well,
takes
if you
me
run
out.
out of sparks, you die.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and frankly, I would have said, "Oh, go use that." And yes, because exactly, the reason I was letting it kill it is because it was your final action. So you poured everything you had into it. All right. So it burns away. Now there isn't even a pool. There is just the depression with you can see the strange ancient seal of the gate below. However, Lyra does feel, she sort of collapses against the hearth, but she feels, she is gaining strength, especially if you tend her, she's recovering. She has successfully bound herself to the flame. And beyond that, she does feel that whatever it was there had been stirred and awoken, and without the flame active, its presence was reaching out further. The flame itself, she thinks why they put the flame here was to sort of keep its influence away. So you do feel just the area around you actually, as you step out into the forest, you don't feel that same sense. You don't know if they just disappeared or if they went dormant or what it is, but the area itself feels a little more peaceful. And you can do some work, to also just try and calm the spirit. But you do feel that with the flame there, it should at least keep this in check, even though it's always going to be down there. It's a tight thing. I mean, basically, we've got Taleb, who is he's determined that, he's going to keep this place. He's going to make sure this never gets free. And so he's decided to stay here and help them. So we at least do have Rusty to keep her safe. Mo at least did survive, so he'll be able to go back to the village and get some more people. Taleb can go with him to make sure he makes it. So,
Nice.
It's the tight minimum, the bare minimum, and you might have to stick around a day or two just to make sure they do get more people. But you do pretty much have everything, the core of a good area now. So we have both established a new area, and again, you do feel that its presence keeps things tight. So congratulations. And hey, very quick turnaround. How do you feel about those deaths? What kind of death was that for
Man,
you?
that was a good one.
God.
Go first,
Start with
Mike.
you.
Honestly, that was not how I was expecting to go out. I was just like, So I feel like, especially given the circumstances where she was, seeing Taleb and all of that, that it would feel very reminiscent of her first death. So I feel like that will probably send her back through the bitter school.
I appreciate another more positive person might be like, but I saved the last member. But it is always about your perception of things. So the important thing is you feel. Yes.
And she always
All right.
feels that she's not good enough.
Back to the Crucible for you.
I don't think this feels like an elemental death for Kelvin, because he wasn't doing it out of duty. He was doing it to get this thing out of himself because he was afraid of carrying yet another curse. So what would that feel like? I'm interested in suggestions.
Okay, so let's just run through the things. You've got fast enough, tough enough, secrets, others, duty, failure. So one possibility is to say failure, is to say, well, you did it because you got hurt, you couldn't defend yourself, you're worried about that. Another possibility is durant. Again, if you were tougher, basically it's your fear that you're not tough enough to resist this thing and survive it, and therefore you need to let it go.
I'll take Durant. That makes sense.
All right. I know that we're close on our time here, so anything, basically, you have at least reestablished it. The two of you, you could choose to come back here and be with them because, hey, we have a flame now, or you could leave them to get back on your own and go back to Pyre. So that is a question. Will you come back and all return to Pyre together, or are the two of you going to go straight back to the Grand Area?
I think I'm probably going to be stuck in the Crucible for a little while, and then
That makes sense.
You always come back on dawn no matter what.
No, but it could be, basically, it can take a couple days.
Okay.
So
I think
it
going
could
through
be as soon as the next
it
dawn.
feels like a repetition again. I'd probably be stuck in there a little longer.
So,
and then go back to the main area because
That makes sense.
I would have assumed.
How about
they'd
you?
gone
Do you
back.
think
Kelvin
you
would
come
come
right
back and help because he feels.
So
he gets
with the
his job.
three of you, and again, now that the contact with the flame is restored, you will be healing at dawn and such like that. So it'll be a long, tough journey, but you'll make it.
What does that river look like now?
The river has actually sort of died down a bit. It's not completely gone, but it's sort of, and it's not. You feel like it's not as nasty. It is still sort of an acidic-y river, but it's not like, oh, you stick your finger in it and it's gone, sort of thing. It's just unpleasant. But frankly, you could wade through it without dying, sort of thing.
Okay.
Certainly, having humans to protect is a whole other can of wax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm reminding Mo to tell the story of Tosh.
And meanwhile, also, the mask whispers to you, "Eat the soup."
I make
Boy
Eerie
needs
some soup. I
soup.
was just gonna make Eerie some soup, actually.
And I think that is a good place to stop.
All right. Saving Throw has shows that are on. There's 7 shows over 5 nights a week. Coming up this Monday is Monday Night Dungeon Fight, which is a well, you just did it, Mac. It's
and survived.
It's like BattleBots, but with. Are you doing it this time?
I'm doing it
nice.
tomorrow, yeah.
Monday.
Monday.
It's like BattleBots, but with D&D characters. It's really well done. It's PvE D&D, as they say. 4 go in, only 1 survives. This is the last one before the final bout. The winner of this one will go up against the person who won round 1, myself, and Mac, who won the 2nd and 3rd heats. So hopefully it'll be you, and we can get some serious Phoenix representation. Then on Tuesday is Rhodes Legacy, which is our good friend is playing with his son various games. Well worth it. On Wednesday is Barky's Brigade, which you all know and send us wonderful art to support. With the amazing Amy Warpal. Thursday we're off because we know you're watching Critical Role. Although they're out of town, so I don't know. Maybe we'll do something this Thursday. Friday is going to be Never Tell Me the Odds, which is the Star Wars game, which is really fantastic. That's where the actor who plays Beans is a regular member as a cannibalistic Ewok. And then you'll see us again next Saturday.
I'm happy to leave Tosh with you, by the way, as a reminder that you have her mask.
Yes.
I'm definitely bringing Bo along.
All right.
Well, and then also
I'll leave you
so we'll be
to
back next Saturday. We'll level up
Memories.
Varya then. I think we have the rest of the regular team with us, so Michael Holmes will be with us, so we won't level up Kelvin until we see him again.
And again, part of the point is technically it can take more than 1 day to come back from the Crucible, so it could be Kelvin doesn't come back for a little while. You know, that's up to you guys.
It's pouting.
2 Gather Games. That's TWO Gather Games.
It's Together Studios.
Oh, Together Studios.
So TWO Gather. TogetherStudios.com is our website. It is where you can get Phoenix. And over just starting sometime the next week, I am actually hoping to post the first of a series of articles going more into the world, either at togetherstudios.com or keith-baker.com.
Definitely check those out. Keith is one of those folks. We sort of buried the lead in that Keith also created Eberron and Gloom and a bunch of other games, but Keith also writes so much about the games he created and what the process was and does sort of FAQs there. It's a good place if you're trying to learn how to make your own RPGs to sort of see Keith's process. Highly recommend that.
So yes, that is keith-baker.com, because there's another keithbaker.com.
Right, it was a guy named Keith who makes cupcakes.
Yes.
It's a cupcake guy.
And we'll go around and plug everything else, and then we'll be on the studio guys.
All right.
Throwing things all over the place. I'm Mac Beauvais. You can find me pretty much anywhere as at Strange Like That. I'm also going to be lurking around the Guillermo del Toro exhibit tomorrow,
Me too.
which is all monster and horror stuff from his collection. And then after that at Universal Studios for a little while. So if you have a pass, come down and buy me a birthday beer in Hogsmeade.
Yeah, happy birthday. Happy birthday, Mac.
I got you,
I got a death.
death.
Another bitter death.
Yeah,
But you
that's
did-
what I always wanted.
You did save your childhood friend. So you know.
There is that.
I'm Robert Chan. I got a couple of podcasts. Knowing is half the podcast, and the Science Jerks, also the 101. I think is starting next week. You can go find those on your podcasty things.
Hey, Tara Strand, tarastrand.com, actress, physical theater performer, probably patient 0 for Harley Quinn cosplay if you want to see that, Facebook at Gotham Public Works. I wanted to pimp a thing we like. I've recently been enjoying the web series Adult Wednesday Addams.
Oh, it's so
Melissa Hunter.
Huh?
Yeah.
Melissa Hunter.
Oh,
She's
okay,
fantastic.
She eventually got cease and desisted on that, I think,
Yeah.
at some
That's what
point.
I
But
just
she made a lot of
heard.
great episodes, and they haven't taken them down.
Yeah, and actually, the format of that inspired me to finally write this thing this web series that's people have been kind of poking me about. So look for that in, I don't know, hopefully late this year, early next year. But working on it. So yeah.
Also, Keith, do you want to plug the event tomorrow?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know that we have. We should have gotten the specifics for this, but you can go ahead.
Yeah, so tomorrow at Meltdown Comics is going to be Celebrity Charity D20, is I believe the name of the website, but it is basically all day from 10 to 8 p.m., I believe. It is a series of role-playing games, not unlike this, with interesting people. I will be running Phoenix at noon and at 4. I know at 4 I'm running with Javier Grillo-Marchuch, who's one of my favorite writers and podcasters. But there's all kinds of interesting people, and that is also, we are raising money for Reach Out and Read, which is a children's literacy charity. So I believe the website is celebritycharid20.com. Certainly if you just put into Google Celebrity Charity D20, it will show up. That's going to be streaming all day, and if you go to the website, you'll find out where. And again, it's certainly a case where it's a good cause, and it would be great if people want to donate.
I think a few of our team are going to be just wandering around there. I don't think they're going to be on specific games, but we're also going to host it here, if I remember correctly. So you'll be able to see it at this address if you can't find it at wherever it's going to be on
Excellent.
Twitch, actually.
That's great.
It's really worth it. The Celebrity Dungeons & Dragons events are where I met Keith.
Yes.
And where I first... I was very good friends with Matt Mercer and Marisha Ray and all those people, but I first was run by Matt Mercer as a DM at these Celebrity D20 events, which is obviously you get run by him as a DM for 5 seconds and you're like, this forever.
Yes.
How do you want to do this? I want to do it forever. And that's kind of, in many ways, that event was one of the many sort of seeds that grew into Critical Role and into making shows like this possible too, because that was all pre-Twitch.
Yeah, and it was basically just, we were trying to sort of figure out, hey, what makes it interesting to watch people game, which was always a challenging thing. But yeah, because we started that 5 years ago, we realized.
Yeah, and it's definitely worth checking out. They always get good donations for the kids, and that's where a lot of the young sort of people who would be on a stream like this are going to get their start. So check it out. Until the next time, then, on behalf of myself, Sam Proof behind the ones and twos, Mac, Chan, Tara, and the amazing Keith Baker, who honestly you can run this game forever if you want. You can move to LA.
I don't do voices as well as Matt, though.
Oh yeah, but you do them better than me. And myself. See you next time on Saving Throw Show. Bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone. All right. Don't forget to take that affliction out.